Greetings, family. Welcome to Pan-Africanism Towards Nationhood, building a global Black business pipeline. Yes, family, and tonight you're here with the kings of Pan-Africanism and Nationhood as we connect you to beautiful Black Africa and the future. But tonight we're also going to talk about Morocco and Egypt are setting the tone for African development, and the rest of Africa should follow. And we're going to get into that by showing the 10 most impressive mega projects in Egypt and Morocco. So we're going to just be analyzing those two videos and just talking about two of the most impressive countries in Africa that have stand the test of time. And yes, Egypt and Morocco is still in Africa. I know sometimes you hear people say that the Arab nations and all kind of different things that they call, any kind of country. Sometimes people make it seem like the only part of Africa we have is West Africa, and that's it. But we're letting people know that this is about the Afrikstan analysis, and all of these parts of Africa is still Africa. But before I get into all of that, family, what we'll do is let you know about this wonderful YouTube channel that we have with over 3,400 videos from over 10 different countries in Africa, and including videos that's from here in the US, from conference call to presentation to our live stream that we're doing now. Just a whole lot of energy. It's all there, 3,400 videos, and that's from 2007 all the way up to now, 2022. So 15 dedicated years, family. We've been connecting you to Africa on YouTube. And before a lot of the, all of these people have showed up, it was Africa for the Africans and Bomani there, laying the foundation in countries like Ghana to build this future momentum as we set to travel to several different African countries on our itinerary for over the next 15 to 18 months. This is the classic YouTube channel. So family, let me just flip to home. Now home, what I have is an unbelievable amount of playlists. Now you can go to the playlist itself and see all these things. But what you're gonna see as soon as you get to the channel is uploads.
So whatever you guys were eating in Tanzania, that should look good. Man, I felt like jumping through the screen and grabbing a
Yes, I appreciate it. Yeah, right now I got all the Tanzania videos. I got some of them uploaded right now. Right here, you see Tanzania November 2022. That's 53 videos. I've got a whole lot more to upload. Then you see our famous preparation for Liberia as we keep on adding to that energy. And then this is the last journey I did this year, Ghana, May, and June. So once you scroll down some more, you see some more playlists: Tanzania, Ghana, Senegal, and Gambia. And then you scroll down, you'll see Black Star Pan-African Community. So this is where, if you're interested in getting a piece of land and joining this wonderful community, you can start by just checking out some of these videos. And what you see is 3 years consistent updates, and without missing a beat. Just us being on it. I mean, and this is all forms of presentation, land presentation, business conference. Us mainly just showing everyone the progress of us and what we're doing on the land, from clearing it to developing it to laying it out to putting things in place. To also giving great advice as far as how people should move along with doing land acquisition and these kind of business in countries like Ghana. You scroll down some more. I have these multiple playlists, and these are some of the classic Ghana tours that I've had in the past. And this was all before the COVID-19 era. This is in 2019, 2018, and 2017. So those are some of the first literally playlists that I put together, where you have a whole playlist of our entire journey. And they're on average about at least 100 plus videos. So you've seen everything from the beginning of the tour all the way to the middle and throughout the entire journey to the end. So for those who are literally just want to be clear about what you're going to expect in Africa, it's a good way to do it. And what you see, just groups of brothers and sisters from the African Diaspora connecting, networking, enjoying the journey of a lifetime, and just building our energy in the country again. So this is an introduction journey. Once we are in the country and connecting, those who want to stay, do business and do more things, then that's when you have to take the game to another level, because tourism is a great introduction, but it's, at the same time too, you see the best of the country, but not all countries you're gonna, you see the best, but then at the same time too, there's other aspects of the country. So not saying to people that we're just showing them only the great stuff, which is what we're doing. We're mixing it up also, but the highlight is to show the beauty of Africa, show us having the greatest times. The hotels, the restaurant, going around the country, connecting to the people. All those things are displayed in all these videos. I got another classic playlist. This is South Africa, Brazil, Ethiopia, Egypt. So I'm telling people we make our way around the African continent. And then next thing you're gonna see, family, you're gonna see a whole lot of Liberia, because once we get to Liberia, we just documenting. I'm gonna keep it flowing. And then all of our Africa Tours Investment Conference call. This is just a list of this, all of our production. And then you scroll down some more, you see some more playlists, social playlists from Africa schools to us drumming, dancing, us at African Holocaust Museum, presentation dealing with our stolen African ancestors, and so on. And then you have our favorite right here, Black Pan-African Consciousness versus Black Devils and Race Traders. I tell people that these are real videos of us having real conversations. It's nothing personal to anyone, but we have to stand strong and so on. And you scroll down, you see some more, but definitely, family, this YouTube video channel is filled of incredible highlights, and it's not a bunch of drama entertainment. It's just us having a great time in Africa. So scrolling down on the video list, these what you see is this all Tanzania here. You can see the energy, and all you see is just brothers and sisters having a great time. And we're connecting to all aspects of social life. Even we're out here, in the national park. It's the towers of giraffe, just showing you around this nature. So that's what we do on these journeys, family. So it's more than just us talking about getting to Africa and just enjoying a peace of mind. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond, we're a representation of our people, and we have to dispel the myth about all these negative things about Africa that makes no sense. Someone like myself that's traveling to Africa just on a regular basis, as we get ready to even literally just leave for Ghana in a few days on a 20-second journey to Ghana. That's from December 2006 to now, December 2022. So I'm telling family, this is how we're showing people that we're serious by staying in the game, staying in the business. And when you're looking at this as real business, you got to take care of a lot of things for people. I mean, goes beyond accommodations. You have to financially manage all aspects of what you're doing. So when I tell people that what we're doing is business administration to the highest level, technical administration to the highest level. Yes, Kyle, I hope you're excited and you love some of the highlights and the views.
Like I said, man, your channel's like a dream come true. Your channel's like a dream come true. It's like everything there, talking about real business, professionalism, travel, investments, and just not only that, the most important thing is Black people bonding together and having a good time.
There you go.
Ultimate sense of freedom. You'll never be the same. And I can't wait to go on a Liberia tour, and that's gonna be me. You're gonna see a smile on my face all the time. A collar smile. You're gonna see a big ass cheesy smile on my face when we're standing in front of the San Equality Monument, and I'm giving a presentation about everything. And we go to the Ducor Hotel, the J.J. Rogers statue, and everything. And explain all that, the bust and everything in detail. The cannons overlooking Snapper Hill and stuff like that. How we had to fight not only the white man, we had to fight some of our people who didn't understand why we were there and stuff like that. The conflict, how we did bridge the gap, how we did come together with the indigenous people and built a nation, And so those people who want to disparage Liberia and talk all this nonsense, I had to correct somebody today, your Liberian brother. He had a video called America in Africa, and I had to correct him, right? I said, no, that's Black America in Africa. Don't give America no credit. America abandoned Liberia. America didn't give a damn. America was expanding west, the manifest destiny. It didn't give a damn about what happened in Liberia. What you see in Liberia, the architecture and everything was from Black America. The Black community developed in America at the same time white people developed. So the architecture, the buildings, the churches, all the masonry, all that stuff like that, we had in America. So all we did was transport that to Liberia. It was a Black community. It was Black America, a Black community, and diaspora community in Africa. You know, are you going to say the Barclays from the Caribbean? Are they American? No, they're from the Caribbean. You know, it's all the stuff like that. So black people from the Caribbean and Africa and America went to Liberia and built a republic. You know, built the country the best way they could, and we're celebrating that, and we're basically continuing that legacy. Why? Because we have to do this. No other group of people. No, you are never going to be a people if you abandon your culture, abandon your heritage, abandon the things you built and everything just to appease other races. And that's the problem with the black race. Other people, man, they don't give a damn about what you like about them, right? You say anything about the Italians, oh, you Italians did this. They don't give a shit. That's their culture, their heritage. They own it. They said, well, the Germans did this. You think the Germans give a damn about what Hitler did, whatever? They're moving on. They say, yeah, we did this, whatever. We're the only group of people who think that we got to become less of ourselves just to fit in with everybody else. You know, no, we're not going to do that. You know, we're building and we're creating and we're doing things and that's the way it is. And we're not apologizing for anything. That's what the Afrikstan Analysis is all about. You know, we're not apologizing for what we are and what we think. We reached a point in our history, right, where we're at a crossroads. Okay, America is asking us to forget our ancestors. It's asking us to forget slavery, and we can't do that. You know, we can't do that. We just can't do that because our ancestors' soul has never unrested. You know, our ancestors' soul can't rest in peace. I used to watch martial arts movies all the time. And it's like, yeah, my wife's soul can't rest in peace until it's avenged. Whatever. We have to, if not avenge, vindicate our ancestors. They weren't just some trash on the bottom of the boat, worked to death and everything. And you're just going to dismiss it and say, oh, just because we let you live in America, you should. No, it don't work like that. If it means war, it means war. If we could have a peaceful settlement, that's fine too. And what do we want at peace? Well, we want what that was owed to us. If we want billions of dollars to develop and build in Africa, you're going to give it to us. Why? Because it's money that's owed to us. We're not saying we're waiting for reparations, but if you got government programs, you're giving out billions of dollars to this country and that country, we're gonna start getting some of that money too. You know, we ain't waiting. You got laws in the books saying there's billions of dollars for overseas development and everything. Guess what? We're coming for it. You know, the U.S. policy, foreign policy in Africa. Yeah, you're not going to basically consult us or engage the Pan-African world. Hey, we're going to oppose you. You know, we're in a good position with this guy Raphael Warnock, but since he's not a Pan-Africanist, the fool doesn't even know what power he has. The friggin' Republicans have Congress. There's almost a dead tie in the Senate. Any sort of dissension could throw the power to the Republicans. This guy Raphael Warnock could be like, "Yeah, look, yeah, I got 6 years, so I probably only want to be a senator after 6 years. So I'm gonna basically see what I can get out of in the legislation done, tacked onto anything we propose." He could be able to like, "Yo, look, I want $100 billion for African development and Pan African development." I'm sure he's out in Georgia. He heard black people talk about building overseas and building African American development and stuff like that, right? But you think he's going to introduce anything saying this is going to ride in with this ominous spending package? No, because he basically is Senate, and basically instead of him fighting for his constituency, he's fighting for the Democratic liberal white cause. Let me tell you something, folks. The new racists, right, are not going to come with Ku Klux Klan robes. They're not going to come with neo Nazis. They're not going to come as even hardcore right wing people or militias. They're going to come as liberals. They're going to come as social justice warriors. They're going to come as LGBTQ activists. They're going to come as feminists. They're going to come as all these climate change. They're going to come with all this stuff like this. And the end result of this is the black family and the black man and woman is going to be divided and destroyed. That's the end game. So if you talk about social programs, social justice, and all the stuff like that that undermines the black community, undermines the black family, you're doing more damage than the Ku Klux Klan ever could. So with that, we're gonna play the video, brother.
Yes, absolutely, brother. Let's do that. Let's do that. right, this should be. All right, well, I'll just make it large in a second. All right, perfect, brother. Ready to play?
Ready.
The most impressive mega projects in Egypt. Economic mega projects have been a main characteristic in Egypt. A
It's not
series
playing.
of infrastructure development projects are currently under.
Can you repeat that?
Well, it's not moving. I think the one that's on the screen is not moving. I think you got the one on the screen. You got the Morocco one on the screen.
Here we go. Do this one. Here we go.
Look at that.
Known as the Western Kingdom, Morocco has lived up to its expectations as one of the most valuable countries of the continent of Africa. Generating the 5th largest economy in all of Africa, Morocco is expected to record a compound annual growth rate of 8% by 2024. The commercial building construction market in value terms is expected to register a growth of 10% over the forecast period. The pandemic has affected the economic growth of the country and surrounding regions. Still, affordable housing is expected to stay least affected, supported by a mix of public and private spending. Infrastructure in Morocco continues to make leaps of progression that consist of many innovative projects. These deal with rail line infrastructure, which is undergoing serious renovations and expansion. In 2018, the country officially unveiled its $2.6 billion fastest high-speed train in Africa, the Al Borak, which operates at a maximum speed of 320 kilometers per hour.
It's time to retrieve all those files you thought you lost. This hard drive recovery converter from Silky connects to any of your hard drives and it.
Also, the Moroccan government is planning to invest $28 billion in road construction through 2035. Apart from that, air and mobile infrastructure have also been kept in mind to ready the country for many years of tourism in the future. According to the BNC network, there are over 200 active mega construction projects in Morocco with a combined estimated value of just under $66 billion. The North African country is experiencing sharp growth on the back of government investments that seek to meet the needs of a rising population, according to the Morocco Construction Market Outlook report. That all being said, we shall discuss in this video the 10 most impressive mega construction projects in Morocco. Before we continue, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our exciting future videos. So without further delays, here are the 10 most impressive mega projects in Morocco. Number 10, Grand Theatre of Rabat. Morocco is preparing to open the Grand Theatre of Rabat, which at 47,000 square meters, will be the largest theater in the Arab world and Africa, adding a new dimension to Morocco's official capital. Designed by the late Iraqi avant-garde architect Zaha Hadid, the theater, which will serve as a multifunctional cultural venue, is part of an ambitious national cultural development program initiated by Moroccan King Mohammed VI for artistic and cultural reinvention. The project aims to transform the urban landscape on both sides of the Bourgogne River. Number 9, Arabit Center. The construction of Arabit Center, also called Arabit Mall in Rabat, Morocco, has been completed last year, bringing into the country one of the most attractive shopping centers and the largest setup of its kind, and also giving the people of Rabat an alternative to both Rabat's Mega Mall and Casablanca's Morocco Mall. The structure sits on a 12 acres piece of land, and it took up over $245 million to construct. The construction of Arabit Center has produced a mixed-use retail, leisure, office and hospitality scheme, which features a 45,000 square meter shopping center, a large food court which has been occupied by several vendors, a 12-screen multiplex cinema, 40,000 square meters of office space and a Marriott hotel, a 230 rooms 4-star hotel, which is set to open in the coming months, with a conference center. Number 8. Hyatt Regency, Tagazout Bay. This hotel has 205 rooms, is located on a 45-acre site facing the beach in the Tagazout Bay development area. The hotel is a part of a more comprehensive development having residential units, an 18-hole golf course, beach club, retail center, tennis academy, and a Moroccan spa and surf camp. Located in a prime beach area, the hotel contains various dining options, including a specialty restaurant and a pool bar. It is the second Hyatt-branded hotel in Tagazout, joining Hyatt Place Tagazout Bay. Number 7. Mohammed VI Tower. The 250-meter-high Mohammed VI Tower is designed to be visible from a distance of 50 kilometers all round. With a total area of 102,800 square meters, the building consists of a tower set on a podium to resemble a rocket on its launch pad. Inside, the 55 stories contain a luxury hotel, offices, high-end apartments, and even a viewing terrace at the top, all accessible via a total of 40 lifts, 23 in the tower and 17 in the podium. The structure can withstand not only the usual elements, such as strong winds or seismic events, but also flooding from the neighboring Bourgrid River. The tower is braced 70% by its concrete core and 30% by the structure of the steel porticos on its facade. In view of the apartments at the top of the tower, a tuned mass damper system to reduce oscillations will be installed in the last few stories. The tower's south facade will be fully equipped with 3,350 square meters of panels, while rainwater recovery and wastewater recycling systems are incorporated in the building's design. The hot water also comes from an internal energy recovery system. The building is designed to be certified LEED Gold and HQE, complying with the highest international environmental quality standards. The project, estimated to cost $375 million, is expected to be completed in 2022. Number 6. Wessel Casablanca Port. The Wessel Casablanca port involves redeveloping both the port and the city's nearby Medina area over 5 to 7 years. Once complete in 2022, the 120,000 square meter site will include a marina, houses, offices and shops, a science park and library, and a cruise ship terminal. This will bring in more tourism into the area, resulting in increased GDP. The port of Casablanca will definitely change its face once the project is completed. 5 structuring projects are underway to consolidate existing infrastructure, streamline operations, resolve maritime traffic problems, position the port in new activities, and improve operating conditions for operators. These projects aim to raise the port of Casablanca to the most successful international standards in terms.
1 in 3 men who lack this prostate nutrient
Infrastructure. Work is almost completed for the fishing port and earthworks are in progress for the community building. The construction of a cruise terminal is in the study phase and is expected to accommodate 450,000 cruise passengers per year when completed. Number 5. Mohammed VI Tangier Tech City. Tangier Tech Mohammed VI City is being constructed in 3 phases covering 200 up to 2,000 hectares in total. Work has already started to connect the city to roads, electricity, water and rail. The government of Morocco will grant tax incentives to companies operating in food industries, automotive, aeronautical, renewable energy, chemical and textile. The tech city will also benefit from its Tangier Med port, which is currently still being expanded to enhance trade. There is hope that the tech city will attract investments worth $10 billion and create over 100,000 jobs. Chinese company Elon, one of the world's leading manufacturers of wind blades, has already announced its intention to set up a plant in the Mohammed VI Tangier Tech City. The production facility will cost the company $140 million and contribute to the creation of over 2,000 job openings. Last year, the Moroccan government and Chinese organizations signed a series of partnership agreements relating to the Mohammed VI Tangier Tech City. The Smart City is an ambitious project that King Mohammed VI launched in March 2017. The 200-hectare site is set to be completed by 2027. Nearly 200 Chinese companies operating in the automotive, aerospace, textile, electronics, and machine tool sectors are planning to set up locations there. Number 4. Dakhla Wind Farm. Morocco is set to be home to a 900 megawatts wind power plant in Dakhla courtesy of Soluna Technologies Limited, a newly founded company powering the blockchain economy with low-cost renewable energy, backed by a U.S. private equity firm Brookstone Partners. Soluna has already carried out and completed studies and research into the technical feasibility of the wind power plant and now the environmental studies. The project has also obtained the approval of the Ministry of Energy of Morocco. The project will be implemented on a 37,000-acre site that has wind speeds of 22 miles per hour by AM Wind, which is an affiliate of Germany-based Altus AG, a company that offers wind energy, solar energy, water and waste management solutions. The construction cost is estimated at $2.4 billion, with an initial investment of $100 million for the first phase of the project, which will begin this year and take 5 years to complete. Once completed, the project will generate more than 400 highly skilled jobs over its lifetime. Number 3, Ouarzazate Mega Solar Project. The new Ouarzazate Solar Complex is a 580 megawatts power plant located 10 kilometers northeast of the city of Ouarzazate, Morocco. It is the largest concentrated solar power plant in the world. Phase 1 of the Ouarzazate Solar Power Station project involved the construction of a 160 megawatts concentrated solar power plant named Noor 1, while Phase 2 involved the construction of the 200 megawatts Noor 2 CSP plant and the 150 megawatts Noor 3 CSP plant. Phase 3 involved the construction of a 70 megawatts photovoltaic Noor 4 CSP power plant. Phase 1 construction work started in August 2013 and Noor 1 was officially commissioned in February 2016. Noor 2 and Noor 3 were commissioned in 2018. The project was developed on a build, own, operate and transfer basis by ACWA Power Ouarzazate, a consortium of Aqua Power, the Moroccan Agency for Solar Energy Aries and TSK. The Noor complex is operated and maintained by a consortium led by NAMAC, a subsidiary of AC Washington Power and Mason. The Ouarzazate Solar Power Station project forms part of the Moroccan Solar Energy Program, NOOR, which aims to develop 5 solar complexes with a combined capacity of approximately 2 gigawatts by 2024 to meet the energy demands of the country, which depends on 95% imports. Number 2, Mahdia Renewable Energy City. Announced in 2016, Morocco is investing $2.5 billion over 7 years to build a brand new carbon-free city that will rely 100% on renewable energy. The massive construction project is being overlooked by Mohammed Darwish, spanning over 400 hectares and up to 8 kilometers of the coastal landscape. The city will utilize energy in wind, sun and hydropower to meet its energy requirements. Some state-of-the-art facilities included in the city are teaching hospital, a golf course, a shopping mall, tourist facilities and a 2-mile corniche lined with shops and restaurants. The project is expected to accommodate 2,000 people after completion. Number 1, Sustainable City. The construction project for the first ecological city of Zenata was completed last year. With 2,000 residential units put up for sale, it is intended to house most of the city's working class and victims of inadequate housing. The eco-city will be occupied in 3 phases by 2023 to accommodate 8,700 families. The eco-city occupies 470 hectares of green spaces with water retention bases and ecological corridors leading out directly to the sea. The eco-city of Zenata is located in the northeast of the Moroccan metropolis of Casablanca. It covers 1,830 hectares with 5 kilometers of coastline opening onto the Atlantic Ocean. Created in 2006 at the initiative of the state, Zenata is the first African city to be awarded the Eco-City label, a certification obtained at the 22nd Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which was held in 2016 in Marrakech. The new city includes a total of 470 hectares of green spaces. Water retention basins for the wet season promote groundwater recharge and afforestation of the site. So there you have it. Those are the 10 most impressive mega projects in Morocco. If you enjoyed this video,
Yes, my brother.
I'm like blown away.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
what I wanted to say about these things is I want to let people know that out of the 10 projects, you had like the first half of the projects, they were mainly based on building the infrastructure. Then you had another half of the project, like the last 5, it was about sustainability, energy, sustainable city, high technology.
Water
They put
retention.
all basis of what's needed for us to take it to another level.
And what gets me is when they said the water retention, do you know in sub-Saharan Africa, they got plenty of water retention because it's mostly wet and rainy, you know? So you don't have to go through that, you know? So they're doing that in dry Morocco, water retention.
Exactly. In the desert, as you can see all of the land, you didn't see a bunch of greenery like you in Jamaica or you like in Ghana, like family.
Right. You know?
This
So
is what our
all
people are doing.
up here, the mine, all these projects we've been studying for years, you know, but no African country. Now, George Weah was just in Morocco, right? You would think he'd go up there and say, you know something, I like what you guys are doing. Let's go ahead. No, man, he went up there for a free meal. You know?
You keep on saying the thing about free meal, bro.
It is. That's all it is, man. These niggas travel the world just for free
food. Thing too. He said they were in Washington, D.C. for a free meal.
Go for a free meal, you know, free food, you know? You know, and it's like, yo, look, man, I'm just like, but Morocco might be, we got to basically, the black man got to, probably, you could basically be so with Europe, man. I think we need to start building a relationship with this country. It's on the continent. They identify with the continent, right? And we have to get more with this because everything they're doing is they're serious about development. You see what I mean? You understand? Develop infrastructure. The heights of like you don't have to have your people flooding to other countries and stuff like that. You know, you don't have to do that. You know. Now Egypt's gonna blow us away. You know.
We can never keep on talking about Morocco. Just putting that video up next to let people know the similarities that this is North Africa.
Now I was looking up Morocco while I was watching this. Right. You know what the major thing is? Tourism. They get like 13 million people a year coming there. Tourism. That's what really drives it. And the only thing and they're agricultural independent. The only thing they import from the West is wheat. You know. So in other words, basically, if I don't know about wheat growing in Africa. I know I've never in Southern Africa they grow wheat. You know, Zimbabwe that could be a freaking trade hub between Morocco and Zimbabwe. Because those countries could grow wheat in Southern Africa. You know, I never heard about wheat in West Africa. You know.
No, but that's what. So that's what we want. We want to see our people take advantage of the Africa Free Trade Agreement. You know,
right?
And trade with us as a people.
But what I'm afraid of is the Africa Free Trade Agreement is that there's not going to be any Black Africans involved in it. You know,
which is a problem initially. But we have to fix that.
Yeah, we gotta fix that. We gotta basically say we gotta start. We can't be spectators. You know, we gotta get a piece of the action.
Yes, there you go. We gotta get into the game.
Get into the game, man, because nobody's gonna do this with us. I like how a country like that, the government says they got to do stuff and everything. In Morocco, doesn't have oil. Nigeria basically had $400 billion worth of oil disappeared. They have hundreds of. I remember I watched one interview with former president of Nigeria, Babangida, right? And he was talking to Andrew Young. And he would just like basically say, why can't Nigeria say, well, it's the African, you know, we just, again, why is it, you know, we're cursed with oil. And Andrew Young said, why is that a curse? You know, people, we get corrupted. I said, why can't you guys figure things out? You know, and I look at this, I look at that Lekki and Echo Atlantic thing, and I look at this and I'm friggin' ashamed. You know, I'm really embarrassed. You know, this is a country with no oil. And they're doing all these mega projects, you know? And you got Echo Atlantic still sitting there undeveloped after all these years.
Absolutely. You see, it doesn't make sense. But look what this person is saying. And I'm telling people, like, family, this is Africa. I've been to the southern part of Africa. I've been to the northern part.
Morocco do identify with Africa.
Only part of Africa I haven't really been to is the central part of Africa, which, you know, Rwanda would take us there close to the central part of Africa. But I'm telling people, like like stop all of this stuff. This is still Africa. And even if you go to a country like Morocco or Egypt, the majority of people there are still black, dark-skinned African people. It's just that in the major cities like like Cairo or Casablanca, you just won't see too many of us. But we're there in a country. Like when I went to Egypt, once we went further south, the blacker it got.
Yeah. Same thing in Morocco. Like the people visit places like Fez and Marrakesh right there. They should have Mali all this time should have been like, let's build a highway from Timbuktu. They used to have a trade route between Timbuktu and Djenné to Marrakesh. Why can't they build a rail line right now, and get it on that tourism money, And so, but the mindset's not there. How is it that our ancestors 600 years ago figured this out? And there were trade routes going from the central part of Nigeria, the Senegambia region, all the way to Morocco. People had leatherworks and craftsworks from West Africa was sold in Morocco, and people thought it was Morocco leather. No, it was made in West Africa. The gold that Moroccans had came from West Africa, below the Sahara, in the Mali Empire, and stuff like that. So we basically, in the last 500 years, we haven't done anything to reclaim that glory that the Black Africa replaced. And people say, "Oh, they don't like Black." Look, people want to identify with success. They're not gonna hold our L's with us, They're like, we figure shit out, whatnot. You guys still going through this thing with the French and coup after coup and all this kind of nonsense over religion and everything. You notice how you see these countries so advanced and so scientific, right? They're not thinking about Islam. They're thinking about development. They have the religion of LARP, which is logical, achievable, reasonable, and practical. And they're developing their country. And that's what happens when you put education first. You stop all this silly squabbling about Islam, religion, and race, and all like that. You think about the future. You think about what's there. You notice how you see them. You had German companies in there. I can imagine them brokering deals with German companies, and American companies, and a Chinese company building a smart city. I'm like, this is amazing. So how can they do this?
Where's the great Nigerian engineers and scientists that we know that's out there? They're not a part of these projects, and that's what I'm telling people. But check out this one comment right here. I just want to know what you think about this one right here.
I'm open to learning anything from anybody. Morocco is dying with the continent. That's not what my case is. The Moroccans after the thing said we identify with Africa because the Arab world tried to claim them, right? They said no, we're part of Africa, because Morocco is like 60% Arab and 40% Berber, but the culture is not. The most people who are prominent in that country are Berber, and
it's not like Saudi Arabia. It's not like one of those.
But it's not like an Arab country.
It's a true Arab nation.
Yeah, saying Morocco is Morocco. They speak Arabic and but they identify with Africa. They said our ancestors were on this continent for 10,000 years. They migrated, they're indigenous to the continent. So they don't consider themselves part of the Arab world. They identify with Black Africa, and they know there's more to gain by identifying with Black Africa. Now,
absolutely. Same thing with Gaddafi was working towards.
Right, Gaddafi was. As far as you tell this, when people called Gaddafi a great African leader, there was very few people who could dispute that. Because he was like, look, when you deal with Berber people, they're like, okay, you're like, damn, I got cousins who look like that. We got people in our community that look like that. God damn, that dude, he could pass for Thurgood Marshall. He could pass for people that we call LWE Du Bois. How can we call them Black and we can't call Gaddafi, who's darker, Black, or whatever like that. That's what it is. Yeah, 20 billion, even more than that. Just with
that's basically development money that they could have been developing.
400 billion disappeared. Over 50 years from the Treasury Department, like disappeared, not mismanagement, disappeared. And we wonder why we're sitting there like this. Lagos is the darkest city on the planet. You call people in Nigeria, you hear that generator in the back. Turn that shit off, man. I got my generator. You know how much money that is? Spending money on kerosene. That kerosene, when you're a generator, that kerosene goes quick. You're spending like at least every 2 days, like $15, $20 on kerosene, for those generators, gas generators, whatnot.
The solution is what Morocco is doing. Like half of their projects were energy projects. solar, wind,
energy, wind, and stuff like that, you know,
tech
and all
city.
stuff like that. And
Oh,
if they'd be losing.
Nigeria's up there as far as one of the best economies as far as GDP, just like Morocco and Egypt.
But Morocco's population is only 37 million. Nigerians is 200 million. You know, and so therefore the GDP is naturally going to be higher, but the per capita is way higher than Nigeria. You know, and they're sustainable.
Yes, based on per capita.
Like
Exactly.
You know, and so this is the things we have to talk about. These are things we don't like to talk about, but it's the truth, though. You know, because when we basically like this, that's what I said with the cashew industry. Remember Amara when he was up here? You go to the Kala the cashew. I said, how you gonna let Vietnamese? They were getting their ass kicked when I was a kid in the Vietnam War and shit that was just ending when I was a kid. You know, they're coming over there processing cashew. You know, y'all should be doing that shit. Well, we have trade agreements. Fuck the trade agreements, man. You know, you don't have to buy by shit. You know, process your own cashew. Go back to Sierra Leone and start your own thing, and bring your investors and process it. Oh, you can't do that because it's all this kind of nonsense. You know, which we call Southern Sudan is the most fertile place on the planet. Because of the Nile and the water, tremendous water supply and everything, they said Southern Sudan, if developed, can feed most of the world. If it's developed, agriculture is developed, you know. I hope Ghana does something with its gold refinery, but it takes a political will. If they're gonna do that now, the next administration will come in, get scared by the Europeans, and basically back out of it. You know. I don't know, legalize that. I guess some people like to legalize weed, whatever, like that. But you know, that's what we always think about. We gotta get the farms. We gotta grow corn. We gotta feed ourselves before we can get high. You know, let's get our priorities straight. You know, we gotta legalize weed. Not trying to diss nothing like that, but we gotta get our stuff right. We can't be importing all our food and whatnot. But I can grow my weed and whatnot. Gotta get our priorities right, man. But we appreciate the contribution on the chats. But that's what we're talking about tonight. You know, it's like a mindset has to change. You know, we have to make development and industry and all that pan-African and build it, because we're never gonna have the life we dream being underdeveloped by letting idiots and morons and village idiots run the show on the continent. You know.
Exactly. Like you mentioned about Nigeria, about generators. I mean, right there, Morocco broke it down. You got to get into the energy investment. I mean, and then tourism. You got to build a tourism market. So I'm always asking people about Nigeria. I was like, what's the aspects of tourism there, and what's the aspects of infrastructure to support almost 200 million people?
Yeah, there is none. It's
none.
Like people off the grid.
But then why do you have all these successful Nigerians that you see across the world? I'm not here to pick on Nigerians or anyone, because every time we bring up subjects about different race, different nations of people, different countries, people think that we're picking on people. Everything is about our Afrikstan analysis. So we're not like literally just comparing Egypt and Morocco to Nigeria, but we are.
I think it's the problem. The problem is the black race, right? The black race. Unlike the Arab race, they have a sense of pride in themselves, And when you have a sense of pride in yourself, right, you see yourself as a natural equal of people who, like Europeans, Chinese, whatever like that. The black men, for the most part, worldwide, we don't see ourselves like that, right? So the only people we can look better than are people who look like us, So I was watching this one program one time where they were showing Makoto, the slum village in Nigeria, right? And they'll interview the people, and they're like, yeah, there's rich Nigerians live over there. They got the big houses and everything. Yet, right in viewing sight, you got people living in absolute slum, garbage, everything, worst condition you imagine. And they basically was like, yeah, the rich don't care. They live their thing. And then some people try to tell me, well, Kala, that's the way it is. People, no, it don't have to be like that.
It don't have to be that. serious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is that going to be our future where we just have that divide forever?
Divide. We know why? Because those people are going to get tired of living like that, right? And what's going to happen is they're going to rise up, and then guess what? You're going to say, what the hell happened?
That's going to happen.
You remember Cuba, right? Cuba was on its way, but it had a large number of people that were poor, and you got some people living in swanky hotels and whatnot. It's very easy to convince them that those people in those hotels and whatnot are living at your expense. It happens all over the world.
I mean, remember about the famous French Revolution?
The French Revolution.
The haves and the have-nots. The landless versus the landlord.
And then not only that, what really galvanized the French Revolution? Well, these aristocrats, they say, look, they're making money selling black people overseas in our name. They've just become Frenchmen themselves. They're like, oh, wait a minute. They got plantations over the world, got slaves, everything, while we're sitting here in squalor and everything. And then what happened was the French basically looked at the bourgeoisie and rose up and whatnot, and they created a reign of terror, a revolution, just spark a revolution. And it got so bad that anybody who was against the revolution was executed. Robespierre,
The king got decapitated.
Marie Antoinette, decapitated, And get this. Robespierre was, every time Robespierre walked down the street, he looked at somebody. Oh, you're against the revolution. They round him up. Next thing you know, he got, no, I'm free. And they put him in the guillotine.
That was a wild revolution, brother.
But the point was driven home. To this day, France's social system is based on the fact that we got to keep. France is fighting for its life because it loses colonies in Africa. They could have another French Revolution. Remember that shit.
They're struggling with all those colonies that they have in Africa and the Caribbean islands that they're milking, and they've been milking for the last few hundred years.
Right.
France should be the richest nation on the planet.
Right. If they lose those colonies, they lose in Africa and whatnot, they're gonna have another French Revolution, and you might just see them pull the guillotine out again, and that's what it is. People don't really understand something, man. When you can't talk about nation building and have people living in squalor and poverty and everything. You gotta freaking enfranchise them. You gotta make it like that, no matter what it takes. You gotta like that. Morocco.
And that's what I see in Morocco and Egypt. They're literally raising the standards to where more and more people can have a standard quality of life. And
why? Because who's knocking at the door? Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, ISIS state and everything. People look at it and say, I think we'd rather have this than Islamic State of ISIS, That's what they're fighting against. The problem is in African countries, the leaders have no fear of anything, That's why they can squander stuff. They don't really think there's any consequences to their mediocrity and their nonsense,
We know about Chesapeake,
Yeah, my electrical engineering firm, he is owned by a Nigerian. He does invest in Nigeria. Yeah, well, there's I don't know if it's the largest engineering firm, bro. There's a lot of them, bro. There's a lot of them, But
what we're saying to people is that when we see these projects, you heard the name on it. They talk about the Germans.
Yeah.
They talk about the Chinese.
Yeah.
They talk about their own people in Morocco. I didn't hear him say nothing about Nigerian engineers or South African engineers or anybody from the continent.
There was an American hospital, because America has, despite what you think about anything, America has the best medical system in the world. I work in the healthcare. America, we have the best healthcare medical system in the world. That's without doubt. America has the largest insurance companies in the world, and the best healthcare system on the planet. That's nobody.
And then the seat of education. I mean, from technical schools to university. I mean, there's nothing compared to that. Even if you just look at the East Coast alone or the Northeast Coast.
Right. And it's the state of New York and stuff like that. They say, well, America ranks right. No, that's because of the failing black people here and minorities. That's why America's numbers are low. Take away the Negroes and whatnot, America would be.
I thought he was going to say all the people crossing the border.
Same thing, people crossing the border. Of course, it's going to go down and whatnot, Negroes
every time I look up, I don't see a whole entourage of people from the southern part, below Mexico coming up, and I'm telling black folks, I'm like, you got to get prepared.
Yeah, look, I'll look at today. All
these people are on code.
Check us out. They're busting people all over the country. Right? Biden's sleeping tonight, busting people to every community in America and whatnot. What do you think those people are? They look like they halfway educated. You know, they don't like their raggedy and whatnot. They like got nice clothes on and whatnot. They're working middle class coming up and whatnot. A lot of these people got education, but there's no money in their country. So basically, America, we understand something. America can't afford its people anymore. They're paying people $20 an hour at McDonald's. That's unsustainable. They got to put robots in there, you know, and they got to bring Mexicans and everybody else who's going to work for that $7.50 an hour, you know. So in the future, you know, even when you get high tech jobs, if we don't go global and start building and everything, build our own economy globally, we're going to be priced out of everything. You relying on the U.S. economy to survive for your children, you're foolish. You know, it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. You know, so like I said, this is just basically telling you why we're doing what we're doing, you know, why we're building. I just can't wait to the one day where these people take us seriously enough. And when we got to put a good face on it, we have enough Pan-Africanists that say we get it. We talk about smart cities. That's the face of Pan-Africa. Smart cities, you know, industrialization. Industrial. Did you see that one industrial zone at the beginning of the Morocco where they carved? It looks like the Lekki. That's all they do is they carve out a piece of land. All you need is a piece of land, right? And you build the breakwaters, and you build a trading zone where you with ships come in and everything like that. And with that, you could build your industrial zone right like that. Nigeria had these projects on the books for years and whatnot. But the thing is, though, I'm like this. If I had a country like Nigeria, shit, I'd be so freaking happy. You know, I wouldn't even care about politics. I'd be like building an economy. You know, you got a 200 million people market, right? I would have Lekki, Ogun State, and all those coastal states, right? With industrial zones and whatnot, with manufacturing, nuclear, and everything like that, you know?
These people are funny, right?
Yeah. Yeah, people tell, I got a lot of comedy skits, man, that I make up in my head all the time, man. When I think about, like I said, I got a PhD in Negroology, whatnot, you know? I got a whole bunch of comedy skits I could put up there one day, and I get the right people together. I'll have you on the floor, man. You know, sarcasm, you know, and satire. You know, sarcasm and satire is how you get a message across. You know, because you understand. So this is what we're dealing with. Like your brother was saying, Jamaican brother was saying the other day. He said no other race of people have been to dehumanize. I get that, right? But the thing is, though, you got to understand something. Africa has spent the last 500 years exporting human potential, you know, and importing nonsense, you know, importing rum and things that the Europeans that you're exporting human capital. You make more money on your labor force, your manpower. The Europeans took our brains and our manpower and made themselves rich. These cities like Amsterdam, Lisbon, all these other places were poor. Liverpool, they were dirt poor. People living in shit, you know, and chamber pots and whatnot. And they got rich over 300 years over this transatlantic slave trade. And then the opium trade, you know, that's how they got rich, you know. And so therefore, we're sitting here left with nothing. And so we don't understand something. We think going to around the world and living in somebody else's country is progress. No, we have to basically value Black excellence. So when somebody comes and a young kid's smart, like I always post kids that are doing well, I say, yeah, Black's winning. Black's winning. Why? Because I want to see people win. I'm not a jealous person. I want to see how people do their best and succeed and stuff like that. Until we get to that point where we start honoring the intelligence and everything, not put the people who are smart behind and say, oh, they're lame and all the stuff like this. And we glorify the basketball player. Not saying nothing wrong with the basketball player. We glorify the rappers. Not saying nothing wrong with rappers. You know, we glorify entertainers and everything like that. And the people who really could lead us, you know, is we don't value them. You know, we don't value education, and we sit back and wonder why are we so poor. What if we basically got together and said, if Ghana and all these African countries got together and said, let's start building these smart cities.
Right.
Right now, Asia is doing this. South Korea is building a $50 billion. You saw that one smart city on $3 billion. We got that in our back pocket. You know, we got that in our back pocket, $3 billion. You know, or they're building a smart city, $50 billion. They said I saw the video. It stated right everything, new technology zones, everything. But you think it's just going to be South Korea? No, they're now competing for the young, smart people in Asia. You know, they're going to have Thai people, professionals. They're going to have Singaporeans living there. They're going to have Taiwanese people.
See, they talk about the 200 Chinese companies. I mean,
Chinese companies coming in, Japanese companies coming in. Where is our economic warriors? You're all you anti-capitalists, right? Where are our industrialists? You know, you're a nation. Your industrialists are your main part of your economic army.
Let me put one up right there. There we go, right there. That's it, right there. Our great engineers.
Yeah, the national. I talked to them before. They're not serious.
I met with them over the years, but nothing has ever. Not
Yeah,
saying
they're not serious about nothing. You know, all this about.
I don't think that's their vision. The vision we're talking about, I don't think that's their vision, but it should be.
No, it is because we're still at the point where we like getting we like getting praise for just being seen, not accomplishing. I remember I was watching a thing where this Japanese scientist, right? He said he spent his life. He got into deep sea exploration. They're doing things like the white people do, deep sea exploration of the giant squid. Nobody captured it. A Japanese scientist was out there, right? And he captured the giant squid eating, right? And basically, I'm saying to myself, that's funny because I always thought, Jacques Cousteau and the crocodile hunter and stuff like that. This was a Japanese guy, right? He says passion was oceanography, right? Ocean life, right? And he had a ship and everything like that, and everything, meters and everything. And he said, I've got it, the giant squid. And he basically prayed and said, yeah, we're going to do this for save the species and everything. And I said to myself, now Japanese is becoming a steward of the ocean, And I'm saying to myself, man, how did that happen? I said, because I'm thinking, when you think of like people who care about the ocean and care about animal life and everything, you always think of Europeans, white people, When you watch Animal Planet, David Attenborough and all these other people like that, You always think of white people. But also I saw a Japanese oceanographer, and I'm like, wow. He had that ship was like unbelievable. He had the sonar, the cameras down there and everything like that. And he said he was searching for the giant squid for 20 years out in the Pacific. He finally found them, whatnot, And he was the first one to document the giant squid. But my point I'm trying to make is, we basically have to start education, science and discovery, STEM. We have in the BAIO, we have a group called STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Math. We want to make it science is not always fun, but we make it enjoyable. Something we go like that, science. The video we show right now, I watch these videos all the time. I've been studying infrastructure now and these projects for 30 years now. And I say like this, man, that's to solve the problem. We get black people interested in stuff like this, we'll be on our way. We should have our own scientists, our own engineers, our own STEM people, our own people that could do mega projects and stuff like this, people who could think about mega projects. Why? Because we want to better ourselves, a better humanity. And then we won't have millions of people leaving the continent every year trying to get to the outside world. Black Africa has the 80% of the world's displaced people. 80% of the people who are displaced and living on visas, extended student loans, student visas, and stuff like that are Black Africans. Why? Because we have not come together as a race and say, look, how are we going to build the continent? Forget about these African governments. Stop being intimidated by these African governments. We have to form, that's why we formed the Black African Infrastructure Organization. One day we're going to make this into a great organization that talks about the things that we talk about, that we want to build a future of our continent as a home and develop it, industrialize it, and stuff like this. And we're not going to be apologetic for it. Because I'm watching, if Morocco is on the same continent as all these other countries, there's no reason why these other countries can't develop. We always have the excuse, development, you want development, you got to leave Africa. Well, the white people in Southern Africa showed you that you didn't have to do that. South Africa is the most developed country on the continent, and it's on the African continent. So what's the difference between South Africa and, let's say, Zambia and everything? Nothing. It's all about the mindset. It's all about the idea that we have not embraced, we as a Black race have not embraced the future. You got some people talk about just, I don't leave civilization, just give me go back to 10,000 years living in a mud hut and whatnot, And the rest of the world is past us and everything, that we won't even have a future if we don't freaking change our mindset. We have not got to embrace modernity. If our culture is real, like we say it is, then we could be technologically advanced and all that stuff like that and still be who we are. The Moroccans are not going to change being who they are because they got all this infrastructure and science and development? Why is it that the black man always thinks that when you talk about development and everything, he's going to lose his identity? The only race that does that. 200 years ago, China and Japan wasn't all this high-tech stuff, but they're still China and Japan. They didn't change their identity. All they did was change that to compete in the world. They have to catch up with the rest of the world, the science and advancement of the rest of the world. We're the only group of people that think that if we do turn to science and turn to development and turn to industry and all stuff like that, that we're losing our identity. And that's a shame. You know, and this is the problem we have in the so-called black world. People, when you talk about Africa, they're automatically thinking, oh man, I can't go back living in the jungle. I got like that. Why can't we build modern Africa? Why can't we build Africa? Why can't we make this Wakanda? You know, we have this Wakanda. In other words, the only futuristic Africa is in a Wakanda film. You know, you're muted, Bomani. You're muted.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, that is a problem. So we're showing people real futuristic city, not something that's just fictional.
Yeah, something real, you know, and it has to come with the fact that, look, we have to start honoring and coveting our scientists, our builders and whatnot. You know, we're
all of our builders and scientists, because earlier I was asking about the great Nigerian engineers.
Yeah, they're not. They're all you're UK, right?
Exactly. So most of our skilled people, that's where they're going, family. So, I mean, if you're asking why is an African nation dealing with the Chinese, dealing with the Germans, and so on, I mean, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to depend on all of our people who have fled and building industries in other nations. I mean, we do need a recall, to get some of our skilled people back, because that's been an issue on our content. Several hundred plus years of brain drain. And now your children are being recruited for athletic programs, academic programs to serve greater nations.
Yeah. And then you brag about, oh, yeah, right now they're causing tension between Nigerians and the blacks in the UK. Blacks in the UK, this is funny, man. Yeah, I saw this one video, right? See, we already don't understand it because Black America's already pretty much established itself, right? So they can't do that really with us. But this one black guy was talking about racism in the UK, and right away he pulled the Nigerian card. Look, we got Nigerians over here doing good grades, and they're making this stuff like that. They're recruited for that purpose. You take the best Nigerians, right, and you put them in your society and give them like that, so you can use that as a weapon against the black people who say, "Look, I've been here for 50 years now. It's time for us to move up a little bit." The social status of the black people in the UK haven't changed. There's still the Windbrook lift and whatnot. They're still at the bottom of the UK society. And basically the Indians aren't really doing a whole lot better. And people start wondering, what are we doing here? We have an
Indian president.
Yeah, but
prime minister.
But the thing is, though, even if you have an Indian prime minister, you look at the Indians. What do they do in the UK? They're all like either small shops and whatnot, and people think that's a lot of people resent that. That the only thing they're ever going to be is work at a small shop and stuff like that. While they see white people walking around and they're free and they're doing all stuff like this, and you're still this immigrant. The small shop and the restaurant is indicative of the new immigrant. If after 60 years you're still doing that, man, you're like, damn, man, what the hell? Is this what it's all about? I'm just
we have to tap into serious industries, man. And
and that's what the problem is. People don't see that. Nobody wants to be freaking a gas station attendant forever. They want their kids, doing space exploration, science, inventing stuff. They want to be part of that. If you invite somebody to your country, either you tell them to leave or you let them have everything in America. We had to fight to get into America, so they weren't going to give a shit. And so Black America is the one who made it possible for all the people of color to advance in society. Because basically at one time, like, let me give you an example. Look at any movie, any TV show from the 1960s, right? Any TV show, right, where they do a news reporter or whatever like that, it's all men in the newsroom. You ever notice that?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You notice that in those black and white shows from the 50s? No women in the thing. They might have a secretary. That's it. Then, check this out. In the 90s, you had a show called Murphy Brown, where she was an anchor. You see how it changed over the years? It changed over the years? the plan was to make sure the white woman was always seen in the house. Wilma Flintstone. Alice from the Three's Company, Edith Bunker and whatnot. Even George and Wheezy. The woman is in the house. That's what the woman is and whatnot. Now try to do a movie, try to do a sitcom where the woman is just sitting in the house. Like they wanted to make originally the Cosby Show. Bill Cosby was supposed to be a plumber, and then his wife was supposed to be just a housewife. But then he said, no, and he made him a doctor and she was a lawyer, and stuff like that. So it's like we gotta make it professional because that's too stereotypical and stuff like that. Well, people want to advance, People want to advance. Nobody wants to do the same old. And like I said, a good movie to watch, folks, is a movie called Piece of the Action. Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier, And the reason why that movie's so good is it showed the social tensions between the black people who were in the ghetto and the black people who were middle class, In the end, it was a good story in the end. But the bottom line is, he talked about that. He said, get a piece of the action. If you're sitting here in America, right? And this is why we have gangs. This is why we have drug dealers. This is why we have brothers going out there going for it or get rich or die trying and shit like that, because they see the world, right? And they don't want to hear no Negro talking about the struggle forever. These young guys want to see the world. They see these guys driving nice cars. They see nice things in life and living a good life, quiet, giving their kids everything. And if you can't basically do that, that's why we're saying that if we build the African continent, we build our own supply chains, we build our own trade and stuff like that. We build Africa. That will solve the problem. Then we have a chance. Then we could go to these other people and say, look, I know you want to do wrong, but look how we're prospering. Right now, we can't do that. They're like, man, y'all pan-Africans are broke. Y'all are broke, dusty, and always on there complaining, pocket watching everybody else and whatnot. I don't want to do that shit,
Yes.
And so basically, if we don't start building something, that's why it said, well, Kala, man, you just laid down the gauntlet. Yeah, it's scary because the next step requires serious shit. The next step is, like I said, Bomani and I building in Ghana and Liberia. We got to get behind that, right? Because when we're successful, we're going to draw people. Like you see, the Germans came to the Moroccans. Now, if they were dusty and stupid, you think the Germans would be there like that? They're saying, this is what we want to do. This is why we have to build the Afrikstan. This is why we have to do this. Why? Because when people see we're serious about building, the people that we need to train our people and teach us and pass these skills on, they're going to come to us. But nobody's going to come to a foolish people. Nobody's going to come to a people that's going to waste their time. That's why people say, well, we can't get investments in Africa because they look at y'all. You send all your best minds to another country and you wonder why nobody want to come to your country and invest. You wonder why Africa has to have some special a loan guarantee to get investments. That means it's covered by the World Bank because there's a 99% chance of failure or abandonment. And I'm not picking on African brothers, but we have to talk about this stuff. Nigeria has 400 abandoned projects. They have the ribbon cutting and everything like that, and the projects get built. Look at Tinaba, right? It was supposed to be a theme park and everything. They built the studio. They had a monorail there, everything, right? Mordi Maya went there, right? And then some Nigerians like, why don't you go to Ghana and talk about your abandoned project? He was just like, you got to play a video. Mordi Maya said, I'm just pointing out the fact that it was a Nigerian. I think he was an American, half American, African American, half Nigerian. He was his brainchild. He said, we're gonna make this a TV studio. They built the studio and everything, but they got a bed. It's in Calabar. Beautiful. They had the overhead cables, the cables that
the Calabar is nice.
It was nice.
That's one I look forward to visiting in Nigeria, Calabar.
Yeah, Calabar, but the cable cars weren't working, and the monorail wasn't working. So the project was completely abandoned. $400 million, completely abandoned. It's like, the administration. It's sad.
That's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing and sad, And then people like, throw their hand up. Well, why? And then the Nigerians, right? Instead of going to Calabar and have a good time, they're going to Dubai, putting their money in Dubai.
Or how about finish Echo Atlantic?
Oh, that's I don't know.
Your Dubai in Africa.
Yeah, I don't know because
last I remember, Dubai got a ban on certain
people. Yeah, so they banned Nigerians in Dubai, so it might be. Dubai's probably saying, "Yo, look, we're gonna ban y'all, so y'all can go and concentrate on building your own country, because they're tired of your asses, you know. You know, they don't care about your fruity drinks and your tight jeans on and whatnot and shit. They want y'all gone. So go back to Nigeria, bring your fruity drinks and your fruity liquor drinks and whatnot, you know, and
you're gonna have a lot of Nigerians pissed off at you tomorrow.
Yeah. But it's what it is. Look, I get on African Americans too. You know, don't take it personally. You know, we're gonna do a thing like a wheel thing. Who we're gonna pick on today? You know,
and then next time people gonna be sending comments like, you talk about a lot of different countries in Africa. You talk about Nigeria. You didn't say nothing about Jamaica. And I'm telling people, you know.
Bomani went on Jamaica. He goes on Jamaica to me all the time. You know, he tells me about Jamaicans all the time, man. You know, he's frustrated with Jamaica. I'm frustrated with African Americans, man. We're frustrated all along.
We're frustrated with all of our people, and you know, I don't differentiate. My goal in life is to find the best Black people anywhere in the world for us to work together.
Yeah.
Because you know, when I tell people about, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, that's what we have to deal with, because you know, wherever you go, you have some people like, you know, you show up in Ghana and we have people who get it and they understand us, and then you have people who just be on some hating stuff like, why they coming here? They need to stay in their own country. It's like people have to appreciate this Black people traveling, moving around, and doing business with each other. Because like we said, family, our goal is to create this global Black business pipeline. You know, and most of our conversation is about Africa. Yes, we do understand our struggles in the diaspora, but you know, we're looking to connect to Africa.
Africa is the base. If we don't have a strong base, Asians are strong globally because they got a base in Asia. Now they're building smart cities and whatnot where Asians can port over. It's like when you go from one Asian country to you got Chinatowns and Koreatowns all over the world now. They can just jump into one country and out of the other. You know, they're doing their thing. Us, it's like, damn, I gotta go to Liberia, so I gotta, oh man, how am I gonna, you know what I'm saying? There should be friggin' us community, diaspora communities with Afrikstans all over the continent, communities of networks of businesses with our own warehousing and stuff like that. We should be so self-sufficient. And we're saying this because we want this to not be said. We want to have it so that we don't have to do shows like this anymore. All the stuff is just gonna happen naturally, you know, organically. You know, and that's what we have to do. We got to stop looking at this. The Europeans created mostly all these countries in Africa, right? They didn't create them for us, you know? And so therefore, why you basically got your border is like a prison cell, you know? You're like, damn, man, you know, Nigerians, Ghanaians are kicking Nigerians out. Nigerians are holding Ghanaians to some stupid shit, where they're basically saying you can't sell your basket weaving, we got to sell to us, and all this kind of foolishness back and forth where none of them getting ahead. You know, a Nigerian guy talking about, I did a whole bunch of business, and because he didn't have the proper paperwork, Ghanaian took his business away from him. All this kind of foolish shit. You know?
Yeah, brother, these are things that goes on, man.
Yeah, it does.
It's a trip in Africa, and it scares people. And that's why I tell people, like, so do you want us to, that's why we're moving together strong as a unit. That's why we advise people to move organized, because you go in there individually, you're just getting picked off because people are looking for you to come.
Yeah, they look at you. Mr. Harvard Brown said, Kala, have you figured out what to do about the hyenas? Because he got burned in Liberia a couple of years ago. You know, he said the hyenas. Yeah, I went over there, did a project, and next thing you know, people come in there, you know, they try to run you off your kill. Like a hyena, like a lion kills something, or a leopard kills something, you know, the hyenas come and take it, you know. They wait, the hyenas will sit back and watch a cheetah or a leopard, right? Something like a bully, make a kill. They're sitting there like this. Okay, you made that kill, right? And they come by. But the leopard, what he does is he makes a kill and he jumps up the tree with his shit, you know? You know? So that's what we call them the hyenas, you know? Hyenas wait, they don't care. They have no sense of justice, you know? I've seen a couple times where the hyena actually stole a leopard's kill, but they both sat down and shared it. But the leopard's sitting there like, all right, he's on one end eating the shit, you know, but the leopard's like, yo, it's better than nothing, you know? And that's what it is. That's what we got. Like, we build our shit because we're not organized and whatnot, you know? We got to share our shit with the people that's going to take it. Not to call our people in Africa hyenas, but the bottom, you know, but when you're dealing with a desperate situation, man, I might be one my damn self, you know? If I was in Africa, I had no prospects and whatnot, and I see some fool coming over here with all this money and whatnot. Oh, yeah, I got land for you. All right, yeah, come on, yeah, you know. Wait till you build the trenches, lay down the pipes and everything like that, and then suddenly a problem comes up. Yeah, man, my uncle, he's coming back. He wants his land back. What? I thought we had a deal. Yeah, but my uncle, though, and I'm saying, but I tell you what, we'll let you have this, whatnot. If you finish that plot over there, and whatnot, and you gotta settle for it, because you ain't got no power. That's why I always say, Black Star Pan-African community, don't get yourself in the situation, join us on something because we got your back, and we got your back. And we move together like this, we're going to have partners. We're going to have partners that are not black, but we got to be on the right. See, the reason why these countries, Morocco is doing good is because they know who they are. They don't have to worry about the Germans coming over there, taking over. They don't have to worry about the Chinese. We have to be that strong where we can bring people in because we don't have the knowledge. And we're going to need assistance from all these people from around the world. They got the knowledge, right? But we got the quest for knowledge, right? We got to have that hunger. And that's what people see. Let me give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The Japanese post-World War II, they're like, we're importing 30,000 cars a year, right? And they realized the cars they were importing, right, even while they were rebuilding the country, right, millions of dollars worth of yen was coming out of the country, right? They said, well, we got to start building Japanese cars. So they commissioned Toyota, what it was called Datsun, Nissan, and it was Toyota. What was the main ones? Toyota was the main one. Datsun, Nissan, and Honda. Yeah, Honda. Those three. Mitsubishi was a lagging. Mitsubishi was lagging. But those three, that was the Japanese big three. Okay, and basically what they did was Ford was there, and they watched everything. And the Americans didn't want to teach the Japanese certain things, and they sort of hunger in the Japanese eyes. And they said these people really want their own automobile. They would show up so hard, working so hard, figure things out. Even when the Americans were like holding things back, they kept asking, right? Because they had that will to succeed, that will to survive. They want their own automobile industry. Within 10 years, Japan started making its own auto assembly plants, right? And then another 5 years from now, they start making their own auto parts, right? Pressing. Then the Japanese discovered a new method of production called just-in-time, okay? The just-in-time method means, like in America, the method was you just have a factory and you just have a whole bunch of, take the steel, have a whole bunch of steel, cut it, and make a whole bunch of parts, and just pile them up and waiting to use. Japanese saying that's tying up a lot of capital. So what if we had the production of parts flow along with the assembly line, right? Or like this. So they had to get it right accurate, right down to every part had to be right there in sync together. That was called the just-in-time method, and that saved lots of capital and lowered the price of cars and everything like that. Made the Japanese car cheap and affordable. Once the Japanese started putting thousands of cars on this road, and it basically took over their own domestic market, they started expanding to the neighboring countries. And then in the 1960s, guess what? Japan showed up on the U.S. highway, and the first Japanese Datsun failed. It went off the road. It wasn't driving that fast, whatever. Everybody laughed at it. They brought that prototype car back, right? And they improved it for the American roads. Guess what happened? What happened in the next couple of decades. Japan basically came not only with exporting cars, they started building factories inside of America. Then they started building parts inside America. Then they basically built car dealerships and everything. And to the point by the freaking late 70s, they had taken over the U.S. market for cars. But they started with nothing. They basically couldn't do anything, And so basically, this is what I'm talking about. When you're organized, you have a country, you have a land, and you say, look, this is our base. This is with Japan. We have to, before we can take on the world, we got to make sure our base, because they had Japan was importing cars and was draining their treasury. So once they started making their own cars and whatnot, the yen was looser. The yen wasn't as high. So they had capital to invest in their own industries and stuff like that. So it was the big three. Then other automakers got into the automobile, Mitsubishi and a couple other, I forgot, Mazda, Mitsubishi, and everyone else came along later, okay? But it was Honda, it was Nissan, Datsun, and Toyota. Those are Japan's big three. Studying this stuff understands you how the fact that all these things that the Japanese did and everything, the Africa and the black man could do, because we basically helped. The black man in America is what made the automobile industry. Right, there would be no automobile industry in Detroit if it wasn't for the black man. You know, it was the black man who basically made the automobile industry. You know, our work, our labor force, and everything. We held down Detroit for decades, for generations. You know, and so therefore, if Africa was really serious about building cars and building stuff like that, you know, we could partner together. You know, that's the spirit of pan-africanism.
Well, the good thing about it is they're doing it in North Africa, and that's still part of Africa. So, family,
it is.
So let me
We
know.
just need to learn for the rest of Africa.
Yeah, and I know people like, yo, well, the Arabs, they this, they that. I mean, a lot of those countries still have a high percentage of black people. You know, even when you move out of Casablanca and and Cairo, you go further south, you find a nicer black population. But we have to do some exploring, people, and make our way around and see these things. But this is a serious analysis. But the northern part of Africa and then what they call the Arab world is on some serious development. I mean, they're building new cities, new town. They actually looking forward to creating a better way of life for the future of their children. Because if we're thinking about our children, all of them are growing up into a world where they're growing into the world of technology. So if we're not building these industries for them to work into, I mean, we're gonna lose more and more of them, and next that's gonna be the whole game. I just gotta go.
Haiti right now. Haiti is literally hell on earth. I'm not. Let me stop. No, that's not funny. You know, I thought about Luke Major when I saw this thing. Right,
Luke Major. That's a clown I haven't heard about in a long time.
Yeah, I know. Check this out. There was this is what. Oh, I think he was born in America, so you don't have to worry about this. There was a guy who did 10 years for robbery and burglary in Miami, right? And then as soon as he got done with his sentence, right, they deported him to Haiti, and Haitians literally put him in jail. They said there's like the Haitian jail looked like a hell on earth, you know. And he said, man, the suicide rate's high, people can't deal with it. He goes, I didn't do nothing in Haiti, but as soon as I got here, they put me in jail. No trial, no nothing. He just languished in a Haitian jail. I said, I would rather be in hell, is a better place than that shit, But the whole country's infrastructure, everything's collapsed because the black race is not integrated together and stuff like that. Everybody once somebody gets power, right? Soon as somebody gets somebody anoints somebody ahead and say, like, these African leaders, their heads so gassed up right now because they got invited to Washington. You can't tell them nothing.
Oh, everybody very excited because they met Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. I mean, I can't sleep without
Jim Crow Joe.
Jim Crow Joe. And these guys are excited, so you can't tell them nothing. So the Africans like, man, see, in Africa, you gotta say something. Everybody goes by how well you are liked by the West, right? And as soon as you fall out of the West, you're doomed, right? That's what happened with Mugabe. And this guy, Manapupa, whatever the fuck his name is, right? That's the president now, right? He knew that Mugabe was not liked by the West, so he played his hand. And he was one of Mugabe's right-hand man, and he just took over. And you don't take over a country unless you got the green light. The Chinese say, look, man, we'll back you up. We're tired of Mugabe too.
We're going back if you're our guy now.
You're our guy now. That's usually how it happens.
We're going to give you everything that you need.
We're going to give you everything.
Kind of that conversation with Mobutu. When you was watching the film, like, wow. And these things, these are the things that goes on, like.
Right, yeah. And behind CIA is something else, man. We'll give you everything you got. Washington will back you. That's all you need to hear.
That was a key thing in the movie. I cannot stop remembering to see that part.
Happened in Liberia with Samuel Doe. We'll give you everything you need. Don't worry about it. We got you. And that's all it takes for you to lose your life in office. They did that with Idi Amin. What happened? Idi Amin took over while Mbote was on vacation. He was overseas. He just stormed the Capitol and took over, man. He said, yo, man, fuck it. CIA
is wild, brother. It's wild, man. Whether it's from Cuba to Uganda or just whatever country, or even in Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah left. He never went back.
He was on vacation, man. He was on vacation.
The man never got a chance to get back to his country.
He was in exile, man. Goddamn. That's goddamn, man. You go overseas And they said, man, this nigga crazy, man. We gotta get out of here.
Brother,
He talking about
brother,
national.
only in Africa, man. You see these kind of things, man.
You know?
It's a trip, but our family, we love our continent, and and that's why we talk so hard about our continent, because it's a future of our world, and we're not just talking about it. We have our presence, our connection. Liberia, Ghana is what we're both pushing, and we're pushing our union connection. But what I want to do, brother, let me know if you want to do anything else before we play this next video.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm mute my camera. I'm gonna have a little smoke while we're doing it.
Right, that sounds great right there.
Economic mega projects have been a main. Ten most impressive mega projects in Egypt. Economic mega projects have been a main characteristic in Egypt. A series of infrastructure development projects are currently underway in Egypt, as President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi seeks to modernize and transform infrastructure of Africa's second biggest economy. The construction industry in Egypt has grown significantly over the last 10 years, and going forward, the sector is projected to grow by 9% on average in the coming 3 years, after a brief slowdown in 2020, because of the disruptions caused by the pandemic. According to Egypt's Ministry of Investment and International Cooperation, in the past 5 years, Egypt has invested around $61.4 billion in infrastructure development, so as to connect governorates, enhance accessibility and mobility of goods. Egypt is constructing several mega projects. In this video, we are going to look at the 10 most impressive mega projects in Egypt. Please do not forget to like and sharing this video with your friends and family. Number 10, Egypt Concentrated Solar Power Plant.
Want to take the guesswork out of your net worth?
Plans are underway in Egypt, as Egypt seeks to install 700 megawatts of concentrated solar power CSP facility, a type of renewable energy that uses the sun's energy to process heat with temperatures of between 400 degrees Celsius to 1000 degrees Celsius, which can be transformed into electricity or stored. The billion-dollar project includes the construction of 5 CSP power plants. Each single station is projected to cost approximately $250 million, all of which will come from international and local lending bodies. 70% of the financing will come from international bodies, while 10 to 15% will be offered by local banks. The total cost of the project is $1.2 billion. Number 9, Capital Med City. Egypt has officially begun the construction of Africa's and Middle East's largest integrated private medical city. The project is sited on 57 acres of new development across the new capital city of Egypt, along Cairo Road, poised to be an anchor and catalyst to the surrounding area. Its landscape design proposes a balance between sustainable low water use, native landscape, and a green shaded retreat. Construction of the entire project will be completed in 7 to 10 years' time, in 3 phases, upon which there shall be a 350-bed state-of-art general hospital, clinics plaza, a hotel, and 11 specialized medical excellence centers. Upon being operational, the medical city will create 10,000 to 30,000 job opportunities, and will make Egypt Africa's medical tourism hub. The total cost of the project is over $1.1 billion, largely funded by the Egyptian government. The Egyptian government highly encourages private investors to invest in this highly anticipated project. Number 8, New Alamein City. New Alamein lies on the Mediterranean Sea, is a new city in northwest Egypt inaugurated by Egyptian President Abdel el-Sisi on March 1, 2018. New Alamein lies on the Mediterranean Sea, approximately 85 kilometers 52 miles, west of Bourg El Arab International Airport. The city has its own presidential palace and ministry building. Construction is ongoing at New Alamein for 3 universities, 15 skyscrapers, high-rise towers, and 10,000 hotel rooms. New Alamein City 5 iconic residential skyscrapers, are first of its kind in Africa. One of the towers is 250 meters high with a surface area of 465,000 square meters, while the other four are 200 meters high with a surface area of 220,000 square meters. The towers will help to boost the city's tourism and hospitality sectors, and they are constructed by China State Engineering Corporation, CSEC, at a cost of $1.9 billion. Over $3 billion has been invested on the project as of September 2021, while the total cost of the project is over $14 billion. Number 7. October Oasis. Earning a reputation as one of the mega infrastructural projects in Egypt, due to its lofty construction cost of $8.5 billion, the October Oasis stands out as a strategic urban development project, built in with high middle and low-income housing units. Located in the Giza Governorate, 32 kilometers 19 miles from Cairo, the city has 2,000 housing units, spreading over a land area of 12,600,000 square meters, including educational and recreational facilities, with an ability to accommodate 200,000 people. An Egyptian company, Palm Hills, handles the construction works, under the supervision of Egypt's New Urban Communities Authority, NUCA. Number 6. Galala City. The new city of Galala, a far-fetched dream that is finally becoming a reality, is the result of the continuous effort of the Egyptian government, who work day and night, to see a magical global city with a coastal spirit in Egypt. The project is considered as one of the most important mega projects in Egypt, and which that combines the charm of natural sceneries and global components. An international city, Galala has several touristic resorts, a health and wellness resort, a seawater distillation plant, phosphate fertilizers factory, 3 wastewater treatment stations, and a marble factory. In addition to this, the city also features restaurants and conference halls, a shopping mall, a yacht city, a water sports city, a mountain hotel, a cable car that connects the resort and the city, medium and high-level apartment buildings, schools, King Abdullah University, distinctive villas and chalets, retail shops, as well as different entertainment facilities. Through the establishment of new integrated urban communities, Egypt seeks to make Galala a world-class city, and so as to create a good investment environment, enabling the city to benefit from its natural resources such as marble and granite, where there are 2 industrial complexes to serve this course. Located on the highest Mount Plateau in the Red Sea area, between Ain Sopna and Zafarana, 770 meters above sea level at its highest elevation, the project is supervised by the Engineering Authority of the Egyptian Armed Forces, while construction works are being handled by several Egyptian companies. The project is open for private investors. Number 5. Tahrir Petrochemical Complex. In August 2021, a $7.5 billion contract had been signed for the construction of the Tahrir Petrochemical Complex in the Ain Sikihan Industrial Zone, near the Gulf of Suez in Egypt. The project, built on an area of 3.56 million square meters, includes a naphtha cracker plant with the capacity to produce 4 million tons per annum, first of its kind in the country, and the biggest in the entire world. The industrial complex will also produce other major products, such as propylene, polypropylene, hexane, butadiene, benzene and styrene. Designed to serve local and export markets and therefore downsizing the state imports of these products, as well as creating export opportunities for productive materials, and resettling the industry. The project takes place in northeast Egypt, along the Suez Canal. Covering an area of 5 million square meters, and providing over 48,000 jobs, the project comes at a cost of over $10.9 billion. Number 4. Suez Canal Special Economic Zone. Egypt wants to create an investment arm to channel funds to projects along the Suez Canal, so as to take advantage of proximity to one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Launched in 2015, the project is expected to generate $12 billion annually. The special zone has a special customs and tax administration system, and the plan is to develop Port Said, Eshmalia and Suez to serve logistical and industrial projects that employ hundreds of thousands of people. Several projects are in progress of being developed, some of which include, first upgrading the Cairo to Suez, and Eshmalia to Port Said roads, second establishing 6 tunnels that connect the area and the Suez Canal banks, third is developing the Weba port to form a free zone, fourth upgrading Sharm el-Sheikh Airport, and last but not least upgrading the ports of East Port Said. Eshmalia is intended to become the administrative center of the zone, and it is expected to host specialized clusters for R&D activities in both communication and information technology and renewable energy, as well as some light industries like agribusinesses and textiles. An urban area at Kantara and New Eshmalia City will be developed, hosting over 350,000 residents. In Port Said, Egypt plans on establishing an industrial zone that focuses on light intermediate industries with a capacity to support 80,000 jobs. Industries will include agribusiness, textiles, automotive assembly, pharmaceuticals and other export-oriented industries. New urban areas will be developed at East Port Said and Bardawil City, hosting up to 250,000 residents. This is one of the biggest projects in Africa in value and revenue that is expected to generate. According to the Suez Canal Zone Chairman, Yahya Said, in just 5 years, the project has attracted investment worth $15 billion. Number 3, Egypt High-Speed Electric Train Project. Egypt is in the process of overhauling the country's railways, including the infrastructure, rail lines, and building new stations. According to Egypt's Minister of Transport Mr. Kamal El-Waziri, modernizing and reforming Egypt's railways is critical to meeting citizens' travel needs and boosting the overall economy. In September of 2021, a German company Siemens Mobility, together with Orascom Construction of the United States and Arab Contractors of Egypt, signed an agreement with the Egyptian government of approximately $4.5 billion, which will foresee the delivery of a comprehensive rail system that features a high-speed electrified rail freight line. Egypt has already received 407 passenger coaches from the Russian Transmash Holding Company, as part of a deal to manufacture and supply 1,300 coaches at a cost of $1.3 billion, an agreement which was signed in 2018. The first part of the project involves the construction of 460 kilometers, 285 miles, railway line, connecting the city of El Alamein on the Mediterranean Sea to Ain Sofna on the Red Sea at high speed, passing through new administrative capital 45 kilometers, 27 miles, east of Cairo, creating 15,000 jobs as well as 2,000 permanent jobs. The full project involves the construction of a 1,000 kilometers 621 miles railway network system worth over $23 billion. Number 2, Daba Nuclear Power Plant Project.
Do you trade options?
Nuclear power plant is the first nuclear power plant planned for Egypt, and also the first in Africa. The plant is located in El Daba, Matru Governorate, about 130 kilometers, 80 miles, northwest of Cairo. The power plant is planned to be similar to Russia's Leningrad nuclear power plant, which has an installed capacity of 4,200 megawatts, supplying 50% of the energy consumed in St. Petersburg and the Leningrad region. The plant will have 4 VVER 1,200 reactors, making Egypt the first country in Africa and the Middle East to have a Generation 3+ reactor. Upon completion, Daba Power Plant will have a capacity of 4,800 megawatts. The overall cost of the project is $29 billion, out of which Russia will finance 85% as a state loan and Egypt will provide the remaining 15% in the form of installments, in a repayment period of 13 years. Number 1, Egypt new capital city. Just 28 miles, 45 kilometers, east of Cairo, Egypt is constructing a new administrative capital. The $58 billion project, started in 2015, is designed to be a hub for government and the finance industry. Egypt hopes to entice some of the 20 million residents of its current capital, Cairo, to relocate to the new city. Where there is space for 6.5 million people. Located 45 kilometers, 27 miles, east of Cairo, the smart city has 21 residential districts and 25 commercial districts. The city will have a recreation park double the size of New York City's Central Park, 90 square kilometers of solar energy farms, and several artificial lakes. Other key features include a technology park, 40,000 hotel rooms, a theme park 4 times the size of Disneyland, 2,000 educational institutions, 1,250 mosques, 663 hospitals and clinics, and a new international airport. Transfer of government ministries, foreign embassies, parliament, and presidential palaces is expected to take place by end of 2022 at a cost of $45 billion. Egypt's new capital city project is by far the biggest ongoing mega project in Africa by value, with an estimated total cost of between $50 billion to $60 billion. That's all that we have for today.
Bro, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to Egypt.
Yeah, brother. So I know Morocco was impressive. That was impressive, but
that just oh my God, man. I'm happy for both those countries. Yo, a medical city. You know?
Yeah, and it's back to the same thing that we talk about, literally infrastructure, new cities, energy projects,
Smart cities,
and then being prepared for the future of our children. So that was family. That was Morocco and Egypt, and we could talk some more, and then we'll play Nigeria.
Oh Lord,
10 Measure Project. You may be impressed.
Yeah, but like Nigeria, they don't have a good track record of carrying things out. That's a problem. They have a good record of abandoning stuff. These people are carrying stuff out. And he said, look, Amara Netter says, fuck Egypt. Come on, man. Why we gotta hate?
What's up with all this hate about the North African countries? This is still Africa.
Yeah, you get happy for them.
It's just like like Southern Africa is on another level, but it's still Africa. I mean, we love our West Africa. West Africa is my favorite part of the entire world. But we're just being real. Like, we need to step it up as a people.
We can't be jealous. We can't be haters, man. And look at that. You see that new capital city? I'm like 400 hospitals. I'm like, God damn.
Egypt against Ethiopia building the dam.
Yeah,
everybody get all political and emotional when we talk about these things. It's about, they're doing it. I mean, and you see their partners
in Russia. You think they're worried about what the West says about Putin? No, they're doing it. Africans, I don't want nothing to do. Ghana's about, I don't want nothing to do with that Putin and whatnot. Think he's gonna get some money from the West because he's publicly going against Russia. Fool. Just sad, man. But this, like I said, this gives me hope that this will transfer to the rest of the continent. It said if Egypt could do it. Egypt don't have oil. You see that refinery they're building, a refinery city. They build, see the whole thing about the Afrikstan we talk about is when you have core industries, you build cities around it, and a nuclear power plant, 4,000 megawatts. You know how much electricity that is? 4,000 megawatts. That's, incredible. Nuclear power plant, the largest nuclear power plant and fusion, and something like, what is that, 100 reactors, whatever, something like that. I'm like, shit, 4,000 megawatts of electricity. That's a lot of power. Then when you provide the prerequisites, right, industry will come to you. Then the tourism, they use all the things they have at their disposal, natural beauty, history, everything to attract people to that. So in other words, what Egypt is looking like, it's going to overtake Italy and all these other countries. Egypt, Morocco is going to be competing with the likes of Amsterdam and stuff like that for tourism.
I mean, the medical city is super impressive, brother. A whole medical city. So when we always hear about
medical tourism,
Yeah, and I realize the reason why they're pushing that, because when we think about so-called prominent people in Africa, they're going to Europe and America for medical, and they go into Asian nations. So Egypt is just taking advantage of the opportunity to say, we want to be the hub of Africa.
Continent don't have proper medical system, so you're gonna have to be. They'll bus you there. They'll fly you there. You know, they have planes coming in. You know, drop you off to the medical center, give you the medical treatment you need to pay for it and whatnot, and ship you back. You know, so they got, and also people coming in from other Arab countries don't got good medical, so they're gonna make billions and billions of dollars on the healthcare sector alone. You know, it's just folks, man. You know, we have to bring our thinking up, man. You know.
Well, you're gonna be impressed when I play the Nigerian mega project. I think you're gonna be more impressed.
All right, I hope so. I hope
So you hope so.
I hope so, because I'm really impressed right now, man. You know.
Yeah, the so-called Arab world is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and one thing about the so-called Arab world, whether you want to talk about Northeast Africa, or North Africa, or Northeast Africa, or whatever they want to call it, literally they're building cities and infrastructure in the middle of the desert.
And also, now that when we talk about the Afrikstan, that's what we're talking about. You know, that's what we're talking. This is the level we're talking about at. You know, no less. You know, this is what we want to build, and we have the capability of doing that because we have a large numbers of people from the West who can migrate back to Africa from the UK and everything like that. And the average Egyptian don't have the 10th of the money Black America has. You know, so we can basically do that. Somebody said Akon's project. I got some sketches. We don't have nothing like this for Akon's project, you know, that we know. You know, it's easy to talk about building a city, but if you're not talking about building an infrastructure on this level, I don't know how it's going to be. It's just going to be a theme park, you know, a glorified theme park, you know. And he told you, so that theme park, it says it's going to be 40 times the size of Disney.
That's what I'm talking about. That, and brother, we keep on telling people that is the importance of land.
Yeah.
That's why Mr. Disney went and did what he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he went to the central part of Florida. I watched a Disney thing. The central part of Florida where Orlando is. And
that was never good land. But you can make land. You can make land work. I mean, look what they do. Look
what they did with that land. You know, it created Disney World. You know, and so he did in the middle of Florida, man. You know, I was like, why are you going to Florida?
What is Disney today? Disney is one of the most powerful companies that got media outlets all over the place. They dominating and controlling the narrative.
1 billion people visited there so far, you know, and people coming in and whatnot. You know, we have to start thinking like that. That Tanaba project in Nigeria, we were right. You know, the mindset was right in the Black race. We could have made that like a Disney, you know, billions and billions of dollars coming in and stuff like that, hand over fist, you know. A medical city. West Africa needs that. A medical tourism city, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And
the railway, you see the railways, high-speed rail, you know, 160 miles an hour. That's fast, you know? And, you know, and it's just unbelievable what they do because people want what they want. They want to build their infrastructure. Without infrastructure, it said, somebody said, I guess a Nigerian said, Echo Land has been abandoned by the original people. Fashola, he had a good thing, but the way he kept promoting it, he's like, he thought he was going to Europeans. He should have made it a pan-African thing. That would have attracted the right side of people. You know, he didn't reach out to the right Black
Africans on the continent, Africans in the diaspora.
He didn't do that.
They thought rich white people would come there and move. Good luck.
Rich white people are not going to come there and move. They'll move to Egypt. They'll move to Morocco. But they're not gonna move there, you know, and so that's what we're and also the Black rich people, where they spend their money at Dubai, you know, they go to Dubai, they go to all these other things. Without land, you can't build nothing. You can't make no plans. You can't. Every one of these projects you see has land. You know, this is where we're gonna build this.
I mean, you hear the size of the land, like 50 acres, 60 acres.
Yeah, 5,000 acres. We're gonna build this right here. When you have land, you can build. You know, you don't have land, you can do nothing. You know, the Black man in the West don't have any land. You know, that's why we can't, all the stuff we do. That's why the Afrikstan is so important. And somebody asked about Angola. Angola would be the perfect place to do the same thing. But we have to be on that mindset. We develop this mindset. Yeah, that's what we talk about building on this level. You know, on this level, that's what we're trying to build. You know, we're trying to build on this level. And a country like Angola have the wealth to do it, but the mindset got to be there. You know, the mindset you got to be there. If you got to have the mindset. If you don't think Africa is worth it, and you want to send your people to Portugal and Brazil, and these other places where you want to get out of Africa, you think everything out of Africa is better. They're like, Egypt is basically saying, you know, we want to make Egypt heaven on earth. You know.
Exactly, and that's a good move by both countries, and I mean, they have all aspects of what you and I talk about.
Yeah, they built their Afrikstan, whatever it is, an Afrikstan.
Straight nation building, man, and
Nation
then
building.
what they're doing, they're working with international partners, regardless if America like them or not.
Yeah, America sitting there with Russia, you know. That's what it is. That's how the real world is. But look at this media stuff and whatnot, you know. The world's still going on. The world's still building and making deals and moving, you know. We're the only group of people, oh man, the world, we're waiting for reparations. We're waiting for America to fall, you know. America's gonna fall, Kala, you know. Cryptocurrency's gonna replace. Yeah, I heard that. Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, how's that working so far?
Yeah, how's that working so far? Waiting for America to fall. Okay.
Yeah, waiting for America to fall, but people on this crypto game, every time, like it has not been going well. I mean, you have people, about to get indicted, for that whole.
Yeah, that one punk kid, a 20-something-year-old kid milking billions of dollars out of people, you know.
Yeah, the guy from MIT, the nerdy guy.
A little nerd, man. It's sad, man. We have to start getting. There's no shortcuts,
One.
This is what Egypt things do because they're serious about their future. You know what this is gonna make sure? There's never gonna be Islamic State rise up. Islamic State could imagine Islamic State taking over Egypt. Could they manage to put together all those infrastructure? But no, they're a bunch of degenerates, extremists and degenerates. Extremists and degenerates aren't gonna get you nowhere. That's why the new Pan-African movement, it ain't about degeneracy and extremism. It's about nation building and building infrastructure, If you're not talking about that, then you're not talking about anything to me anymore. Because that's the future. Building, education, science, all the stuff like that. They talk about building the new science and STEM and everything like that, educating the whole generation of Egyptians to run these advanced economies and everything like they have in Asia. Egypt looked at it and said, if Asia can do it, we can do it. What is a black Africa going to say? If they can do it, we can do it. We got to get rid of tribalism and all this kind of foolishness that holds us back. And we got to focus on education and nation building. And the leaders that we put in power in Africa and here aren't talking like that, but we got to replace them. No matter how much you like them. It's a shame you got people like someone like BIA. Cameroon hasn't advanced since colonial times and whatnot, and this guy's still in power. But that's the African mind. We let fear. The black man's the most scariest, fearful person on the planet. He's scared of success. He's scared of trying. He's scared of doing anything. We got to get out of that field. Sometimes we're going to stumble. Sometimes we're going to fail. Sometimes we're going to get set back. Ask Brother Bomani. You had setbacks. I had setbacks in life. We got
trials and tribulations are real, brother. It's real. If you're gonna get into this movement, you better be prepared to deal with it.
All right. It's not going to be a cakewalk. But these people like Egypt was talking about this for a long time, but they had an Arab Spring. The Arab Spring started in Egypt. The country was wrecked. Remember that? Back in 2009, they had an Arab Spring. The country was wrecked. But look at it now. You don't give up. You keep going on,
That's perfect. Yeah, but those are some impressive projects. So when we talk about Morocco, Egypt, and Nigeria, you're talking about they talk about the dominant economies in Africa, and wish we can probably do something else on South Africa. But what I want to do is just play this video and compare it, because now we talking about the best and most advanced country in West Africa compared to the two North African countries. And family, it's not a comparison like that, but we have to weigh out what's going on in Africa. We have to wonder why you have Rwanda developing, and then you got Burundi, still one of the poorest nations on the planet.
Right. But why is Burundi even a country?
Exactly. That should not even be a country.
Tell me, South Sudan could be a nation and Burundi be a nation, but the black African American and the diaspora, right, with all our brain power, we can't build an Afrikstan? Come on. That's a problem. If you could basically welcome the president of Burundi for a free meal to the White House. You know,
You love these free meals, man. Hey, remember back in days? Remember back in days in New York, free lunch in the summertime.
Remember they used to always say there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah. That was the only free lunch you got in life.
It's cool, man. That free lunch was good though, man.
Hey, brother, that was a business, man. That was a business back in New York City. One thing I love about New York always have some innovative programs.
Check this out, New York. Bomani and I have a project with New York education system, the best educational system in the world.
Yeah, I went to technical school, so all the technology stuff people see me do, I've been doing it since I was 13.
New York prepares that people.
I was literally prepared, and that's how I got. I mean, honestly, brother, I was literally prepared, and that's the reason why I got that position in the Navy, because I scored high on the technical side of things.
Right.
And I was prepared. Even when I look back at it and look back at even some of the courses you're taking, basic electricity. These things were taught to us as teenagers in Brooklyn at a high school called Transit Technology, and now you have Bomani Technology. Yep. I used to try to get a job at Delta Technology, and now I have to build Bomani Technology. So I'm telling people, like, family, the education system is out here. Put the work in. Let's learn what we need to learn, and be a part of the future of Africa. Now, for those who've been waiting, the last mega project that we're about to show, and we can analyze it. And this is the impressive Nigerian mega project, and Kala is going to be literally impressed by this, to where you're going to be like,
let me say something, brother. Before you start, I've been impressed by Nigerian animation and mega projects for years, right? But I never see them come to pass. I've been listening, because I've been on this one thing, right? And they had the China and Nigeria Railway Company, and I was impressed by this railway that was going to go from Lagos to Kano, right? And I was like, there was some of the comments in there. This was like back in 2010. I didn't know a whole lot, right? And motherfucker was like, why are you talking about this? I said, why are you putting down your own country? I said, man, these bozos, all they know how to do is make videos and whatnot, and they can't even get electricity. I was like, why are you talking about your own country like that? I'm in Australia. I would love to go home, but goddamn, all this government does is give us videos and whatnot. I've been looking at videos for 20 years. I've been looking at videos of Nigerian development projects and whatnot. But let's see what this one has to say.
Yes, family.
Nigeria's has blossomed at an annual rate of between 5 to 6%, rendering its economy the largest in Africa by far, impelling suggestions and predictions of continuity in the future. In 2019, the Nigerian gross domestic product was recorded at $448.1 billion, attributable to the remarkable investments directed at industrial developments, registering an unparalleled number of projects in West Africa, with 21 valued at $54.2 billion per the African Construction Trends 2019. The West African powerhouse seems keen on bolstering its economy even more. Work is currently underway on some of the biggest construction projects ever completed in Africa, as the country builds key infrastructure to support its fast-growing population. In this video, we will present the 10.
I, Julian Gordon, with this mortgage, relinquish part of
amazing mega projects in Nigeria. Before we continue, take a moment to support our channel by liking this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting future videos. So without any further delays, here are the top most amazing mega projects in Nigeria. Number 10. Abuja Millennium Tower, Abuja. The Abuja Millennium Tower is a framework projected to envelop a national square, cultural center, and the Millennium Tower. Designed by Italian Manfredi Nicoletti, who won the Comite International des Critiques d'Architecture, the tower is widely tipped to be the tallest Nigerian building with a height of 170 meters. It would also comprise an underground plaza, connecting the low-height 8-story, pyramid-shaped cultural center to the sky-kissing Millennium Tower, to bypass the main road that slices the buildings. The project is located in Abuja and is estimated to approach an estimated $333 million. Number 9. Lekki Free Trade Zone, Lekki, Lagos. The $700 million Lekki Free Trade Zone lies 50 kilometers away from Nigeria's economic capital, facing the Atlantic down south and neighbors the Lekki Lagoon up north. It borders an area of 30 square kilometers with a massive 27 kilometers set aside for modern urban development projects that will hold 120,000 residents. Constructed with design specifications to incorporate a multi-complex containing business districts focused on commerce, industries, developed estates, entertainment and tourism facilities, warehouses, trading and logistics, among others. The commercial and logistics region of the establishment will undergo several construction upgrades as it is expected to operate as the logistics and distribution hub for Chinese products for West Africa. The Lekki Free Trade Zone is a joint establishment owned by a partnership featuring the Lagos State Government, the China Africa Lekki Investment Limited, the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, China Africa Development Fund Limited, China Railway Construction Corporation Limited, and finally, the Nanjing Jiangning Economic and Technological Development Corporation. Number 8. World Trade Center, Abuja. The official project construction of the $1 billion Nigeria's World Trade Center commenced back in 2010, consuming a large region of land estimated at over 6,000 hectares. The start of this mega construction project was halted and delayed after 2 failed attempts to secure partnering developers. Ex-President Goodluck Jonathan cut the sod for project inauguration in September 2011. However, several constraints along the lines of project designs, development, and construction to an extent have been impeding factors calling for design amendments to accommodate a more dynamic market. The project is a product of the union between the FCT administration and First Continental Properties, a pioneer partner. It will be the first of its kind in all of West Africa, but will join 323 other World Trade Centers globally. The giant facility is envisioned as a universal complex that would hold plush residences and apartments, lavish offices, and grand conference facilities, with huge shopping malls and satisfactory entertainment facilities. Number 7. Ibadan Railway Modernization Project, Lagos. The Chinese Civil Engineering Construction Corporation was awarded a $1.53 billion contract for the construction of the Lagos to Ibadan region of the standard gauge railway. The modernization project, which was set in motion in a state-of-the-art ceremony that occurred in March 2017, covers a total distance of 156 kilometers. The project has often been delayed by several factors, making its ideal date for commencement difficult to predict. Construction of the railway was delayed in 2018 by heavy rains. The 2019 Nigerian elections also delayed the development even further. Track laying for the project has been completed whilst the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation has initiated construction work. The $1.5 billion budget for the completion of the project is a price tag that renders railway modernization projects one of the largest ever in Nigeria.
Now, folks, I've been doing this work.
Number 6. Lagos Light Rail, Lagos. Built with the capacity to harbor 500,000 passengers a day with a 35-kilometer length span, the Lagos Light Rail is the first complex facility of its kind in this part of Africa. 7 lines made in colors of red, blue, green, yellow, purple, brown, and orange are highly expected to constitute the rail system, although the blue line is currently in the developing phase and will operate 27.5 kilometers from Marina to Akakamelo, working through 13 stations. China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation is presently the constructors assigned to its development, whilst Lagos State identifies as the Finance RA concession agreement will permit the concessionaire to handle railway equipment and supply such as the generation of electric power, signaling, rolling stock, and fare collection procurement, as well as finance and operations. Number 5. Mambilla Hydroelectric Power Project. As Nigeria looks to boost its energy production to match the needs of its booming economy and population, the government has finally invested into making the Mambilla hydroelectric power project a reality. The $5.8 billion project will connect to 3 dams across the Donga River in Taraba State, eventually generating a total installed capacity of 3,050 megawatts of electricity. Number 4. Eco-Atlantic, Lagos. Nigeria's $6 billion Eco-Atlantic city personifies a revolutionary luxurious establishment integrated with an affinity towards sustainability and environmental protection. The coastal engineering spectacle is located on the affluent Victoria Island coastline. The city, which covers a 9 square kilometer ground, holds an accommodation capacity of 250,000 residents at minimum. It has been latticed with underground surface drainage pipes and road networks. Meanwhile, the Great Wall of Lagos Sea Embankment, which has been raised to a height of over 8 meters above sea level just 2 kilometers away from the city, safeguards Eco-City and Victoria Island. This marvelous city is identified as a highly prospective global growth platform, and certainly one that hurls Nigeria's savvy drive to achieve the status of Africa's financial hub capital. Number 3. Alakola Deep Seaport, Ondo State. The billion-dollar Aloko Deep Seaport project is a high-potential economic prospect that could help amass substantial revenue upon implementation. Its construction in Ondo State is a clever tactic that would consolidate the Southwest shipping market and boost its economic activities. It is widely expected to deliver a total of over 1 million direct and indirect jobs, whilst generating a gargantuan annual revenue of $9 billion. With an estimated construction budget of $12 billion, the Aloko Deep Seaport is one of the mega construction projects for Nigeria. Number 2. Dangote Refinery, Lekki. With an estimated invested budget of $12 billion, the Dangote Oil Refinery is one of Nigeria's largest construction projects. Forecasts have predicted the massive oil refinery to be Africa's largest, meanwhile dominating globally as arguably the biggest single train framework once officially completed and inaugurated by early 2021. The industry is owned by heavyweight Nigerian conglomerate the Dangote Group and comprises a fusion of an oil refinery and petrochemical production. The outstanding refinery is confident of maintaining a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day using Nigerian crude, reducing the nation's dependence on gasoline imports, particularly as Nigeria imports close to 1 million metric tons per month. The refinery stands as a strategic initiative that would be imperative in shrinking Nigeria's fuel import considerably, meanwhile bolstering its crude export, targeting exports to Europe, South America, and West African countries. The refinery will run processing operations for a category of crudes ranging between light and medium grades to generate Euro V standard fuels that comprise diesel, gasoline, polypropylene, and jet fuels. The refinery is projected to employ a huge number of people, creating an estimated 9,500 direct and 25,000 indirect jobs for the economy. Number 1. Centenary City, Abuja. Feasibly the most extravagant construction project at $18 billion, the colossal city is an expertly orchestrated development, created in alignment with the nation's vision to achieve a futuristic and smart city of the caliber of Dubai, Singapore, Monaco, among others. The Centenary City Free Zone establishment is responsible for construction supervision in a partnership with the Centenary City plc and Front Range Developers FZ. The project location lies a couple of kilometers southeast away from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, and just 5 kilometers away from the international airport. The city circumscribes a physical and functionally integrated urban center comprising of a central business district, museums, a financial hub, and a cultural center which will encourage African arts. It will also house residential establishments, educational and healthcare institutions, top-notch office spaces, while introducing sporting and leisure facilities, a safari park, several clubhouses, and crucial community utilities. So there you have it. Those are the 10 most amazing mega projects of Nigeria. Do you know about other exciting projects which wasn't on our list?
Yeah, man, but that's Nigeria. The thing is, I kept seeing delays in 2010. I've been looking at these projects for decades. Yeah, they like that, and I get hyped up when that. The only one that's really promising is Dangote's refinery when he completes it. You know, it's supposed to have been completed last year, but you know they had some more delays. But Nigeria? They're good at doing the thing, but implementing the thing is a whole different thing, and completing it.
It's like doing and achieving, right?
Doing and achieving are two different things, man. We Nigerians go around the world bragging about their doing over there, but they don't achieve. You know, we see Morocco, Asia, and all that. They complete the stuff. Then they don't even have to brag about it. It's just there. You're like, wow, you're impressed. You know, but we still have hope for Nigeria. But geez, man, like I said, I was big into Nigeria back in the early '90s. Man, I thought we're gonna have a country. You know, I thought Nigeria was gonna be like a Hong Kong or Japan, whatever, like that. Man, it's 30 years later. We're still talking about, yeah, well, we got delays and shit not happening. You know, this is what it is. It's, like I said, our race, man, black people, man, the black man, we have to really start. And I really do believe this. It has to do with the fact that I don't know what the democratic process is in these countries, but you know, the people who they seem up to get in power, it seems like they know what's best for the people. They really don't give a damn what the electorate has to think. You know, they say we're gonna build this, we're gonna build this. You don't understand this, you don't understand this, so you don't have a big mouth getting in office talk about blah blah blah. Oh, I like this guy, he sounds good, and then gets in office, they don't do shit. You know, that's a drawback to for with democracy with black people. You know, we elect people that make us feel good, make us like that. The guy could be a complete idiot. You know, he could be a soccer player, you know, but he's popular, we'll elect him, you know, and because he sounds good and he took a picture with somebody and, oh, this is a guy. You know, these other countries and whatnot, they don't go by that. You know, the way the government's set up and whatnot. You're like, they know when it comes to infrastructure and serious stuff, the average person cannot fucking be in the room when you're deciding this stuff. It's like you have a job, you know. The boss, when the manager makes decisions and everything, they say, you sound like a dictator, Kala. I'm not, but I just realized I know my people. You know, we want the shortcut, the short, easy way out. You know, we don't want to do what it takes to make sure it's done. That's why Dangote might succeed because he's the boss in charge of it. You know, it's not somebody elected. You know, so that's why elected person could be a freaking moron. Now, Nigeria had a former governor, Babatunde Fashola. To me, that was the most brilliant man in Africa. He was the one who started ECHO and started Eleki and all this stuff like this. But the thing is, when I listen to Nigerians, right, I said, why do you guys hate this guy? You know, Fashola, blah, 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 blah. You know, because I don't think they said he didn't really prosecute Tinubu, you know, and stuff like that, you know, or whatever. He tried to, but he didn't. Then he left office and he did. I forgot what he's doing now. He's a politician someplace else, but, you know, but he set Lagos on the track that, you know, that he said we could do this and everything. But the people that follow him didn't basically didn't carry on, you know. So ECHO is basically almost like abandoned, you know, and so it's just. We want to see projects completed. You know, it's not enough to put up there. All these videos we saw, Lecky, I've seen these videos before.
What, 10 years ago?
10 years ago. I've seen these videos all 10 years ago, man. I was all hyped up and whatnot, you know. And they had me hyped up. Wow, man. Railway system, you know, this, that, the other thing.
It's kind of like Echo Atlantic. You've been hearing about that for
I've been
a decade and a half.
2008. You know, 2008. I think 2008, 2009. They talked about. One thing about Echo Atlantic I do like is the Great Wall of Lagos. They stopped the erosion. They built the seawall as massive, right? It's like a barrier between the ocean and Victoria Island in the ocean. So basically, that basically saving Lagos from flooding and stuff like that. It's a great wall because Lagos had a lot of coastal erosion. And in the future, African countries, some countries have to start building these sort of things, these seawalls around the coast, certain strategic coastlines. So the Great Wall of Lagos was actually a good project. But inside the Great Wall of Lagos, they said we'll build Echo Atlantic City. So far, they got a couple of buyers for real estate and everything like that, but it's not the massive thing. These investors got options on the continent. They got if you're gonna have an African free trade zone, why do you have to go into Black Africa when there's all these private things? When you see, like, when you have success, that attracts investors because they know the risk. They said the probability of risk is not there. But when you keep having delays and all stuff like that, political instability and stuff like that, people are like, yo, I want to go someplace where, I want to put my money behind someplace that's going to be successful. That's why Paul Kagame is being good because, he's showing success. But there's people that want to take Kagame out because they don't like him. Other African countries are jealous of him. They hate it, that he's doing so well for his country. And they basically want to take him out. I want to see some people call in. We got the link in the chat room, and tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about what you just saw. You saw Egypt. This is what we're going to do. Morocco, we're going to do. This is how we're going to try it out. Lagos, all these projects we saw in Nigeria were there a decade ago. The only new project really is that smart city building and the oil refinery. Those are the only new projects there, but the rest of them have been around for a decade now. And they said delays and stuff like that, people pulling out and everything. So that's what we have. That's what we have. But so I guess we got some Nigerians in the chat. Hopefully they can call in and give us some insight. The link is in the chat, folks. Just click on the link, and join us. We want to hear some other opinions about this. We want to hear some more opinions about this, folks. What do you think? Can Black Africa do this? Can we have mega projects? Because that's really ultimately, let me tell you something, folks. That's ultimately what's going to bring Black people from the West to Africa. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you this, right? If you don't have mega cities being built, mega projects and stuff like that, you don't go from first world to third world, things like that. You got to have plans to build. That's ultimately going to bring people to your country. That's ultimately going to bring people back home. We have to do this. It's an investment. If Africa did that, why not? Yeah, millions of Black people in diaspora will come home and build and live permanently. You see those cities, the way Lekki and I look good, I would like to live there. But I know for a fact of the matter is, if it was built, shit, I'd move to Lekki and Echo Atlantic. Shit, I'd love to live there. But I know for a fact of the matter is, this is not happening right now. Whatever the reason is, it's just not happening. Till we get to the point where we could, Gaddafi's water project was great. He found a way how to drill for water in the desert, and he created aqueducts and everything like that, canals and everything, right? And he irrigated the desert and created new farming and everything. By bringing water from drilling for water in the desert. So there's all these projects, permaculture, planting of trees. Okay, if you cut down trees, you plant 10. For every tree you cut down, you plant 10 more. Israel did it. Israel greened the Negev Desert. They planted 600 million trees. Now they got forests growing where there was once desert. That's permaculture. So it's this. Yeah, we're all ready to go to Africa, but we got to build. We got to build. We can't. The political, the social situation has to change, and it all starts with everything starts, folks, with social dynamic, right? Where people are on the same page, and people are speaking the same thing. Then that translate into political action. The politicians respond to the populace. They respond to the outcry or the culture, the wants and needs of the public. But people sit back and stand for mediocrity. The politicians that make the rules are going to give you just that, mediocrity. But if people say that we want better, right, it's up to the people that you put in power to make that happen. But what I'm seeing in a lot of African countries, they act like the country that they claim is not even theirs. You know, if you say you have a republic, you say you are a citizen, right? A citizen has rights. And one of the rights is to be heard. You know, one of the rights is the government protection, the government providing for you, the government looking after your general welfare and well-being. If a government is not doing that, then the government has no legitimate right to govern you, you know, to make rules over your life. The government has to exist with the consent of the governed. If the government basically exists for itself and its cronies and everything, then it's no longer a government. You have a repressive regime, and you have every right to remove that regime by any means necessary. That's just how it is. But, you know, I think we as the black race, right, we just let people get in power and do what the hell they want to do because we don't have any confidence in ourselves, you know? We don't think we're worthy of better. So we don't think we're worthy of any better, and the people that govern us don't feel compelled or coerced to do any better. But Egypt and these Arab countries realize they have to do better because they are faced with Islam. They look at Syria, they look at Iran, they look at Iraq, they look at these countries and say, we don't want that. That's why United Arab Emirates built Dubai. They said, you know, the people would rather have this than what people are going through in Palestine or people are going through in Afghanistan. So let's build this civilization. Let's build this stuff, but give people hope for a future. In Africa, just the opposite. The government don't feel compelled to do anything because there's no real threat. Because it's like, you know, like remember Amara? Remember Amara said, "Oh, our people, y'all trying to come in. Our people really don't need much, whatever. Y'all talking about building roads and all that. We don't need all that." While he sits in the comfort of America.
Yeah, that's a sick guy, man. It is my kingdom, my kingdom.
My kingdom, a dusty kingdom, nothing. You know, people living in abstract poverty and filth. A lot of them got to go to Liberia just to make a living, you know, about his kingdom. But he don't care about stuff like this because he wants to be the king. Because the bottom line, if the like that, we need technocrats, you know, a technocracy where the smart people, the technical people are the ones building and making decisions and everything. It's like a bureaucracy of technical people who know what to do to build. And that's how Japan was. Japan was a technocracy. The bureaucrats and everything were making sure railways were being built. And that's what Egypt is. It's technocracy. It's not Islam. It's nothing else but a technocracy. When the technocrats win, the people win. People see that, wow, we're getting all this stuff done. These people aren't talking about Alhamdulillah and Allah Akbar. We don't have to blow ourselves up. You know, we don't have to hijack planes. You know, that's a difference. So we have to get to that point where we love ourselves enough to say, you know, we demand better. Because like I said, I look at that Egypt, I'm like, shit. And I like the movie. That was like fantastic.
And you felt the same about Nigeria, right? When you saw those projects?
Yeah, years ago. I've been watching those same projects for 12 years now. You know, since 2010. You know, I've watched those same projects, the same thing. Well, it was commissioned in 2010. You know, it don't take 10 years to build anything, you know. Echo Atlantic should be, like somebody said, Echo Atlantic has been there since Christ was on Calvary. You know. But that's it. Yeah. So, yeah, Marcus, Marion Marcus. Why don't you? Some of you guys click on and come in. I want to hear some thought. You know, click on the link. We need men. I want men. This is a man's discussion. Get on here. Click on the link. You know, tell us what you think. Get on this platform, man. I love my brother Bomani, but we need more people to talk to, you know? Good things take time. Good things don't always have to take time. If people believe that, we're not, you know, shit will never get done. You know, if you have a real plan, you know, yeah, it'll take time. But you see the track record. You have benchmarks. You know, you have managed expectations. You have certain expectations that are reasonable. But, you know, when you look at stuff like that sitting around for years, talking about the administration left, you know, and Nigeria has over 400 abandoned projects. You know, steel mills, cotton mills, flour mills, went back into the weeds, collecting dust, abandoned. You know, that's unacceptable. You know, because everybody goes, oh, we're going to build this project and everything. And then the one administration leaves and the money's not there. And people like leave the country because their guy didn't get elected. So they're like, hey, I'm going to go to Dubai for 4 years and wait it out and everything. And people stealing money and stuff like that, misappropriating, you know. That's what happens. So we got to hold ourselves. We can't just sit there, oh, things happen. No. Sometimes we got to swallow our pride and say, look, what's going on? Why can't we get stuff done? You know, we have to demand better. We have to want better. You know, we can't get mad because, oh, yeah, they're Arabs. They're Arabs and whatnot. They're succeeding, though. They're succeeding. And our people are not, you know, our people are not. And these countries don't have oil. You know, they ain't have oil. You know, they don't have oil to sell and whatnot, you know. So that's what I'm talking about tonight, folks.
And they're also in the desert, brother. They're in the desert.
They're in the desert, you know. They don't have lush green tropics and everything like that, you know. You see that one part in Egypt, they say the desalination plant?
Yes.
You know, I wish they would highlight that more. Desalination. If you don't know what desalination, it means to take salt out of the sea and make it into fresh water.
Absolutely. You have to use all technology, family.
You know, that technology of desalination has been around for decades. Israel used it, you know. Israel used it, you know. That's when a nation really wants to succeed, they're going to find every which way to make it happen.
Absolutely. Look at small little Singapore, small little island.
Yeah, Singapore's GDP is higher than Nigeria's. And it's a tiny 300 square mile island.
I think it's about 3 million people on the island.
It's it's like 4 million people.
Okay. Small nation.
You know, and they're shipping. They got bigger ships. They have a shipping fleet across the world. Most African countries don't have it. Oh, no African country has a ship. I think Egypt does. You know,
and have an elite airlines.
Yeah,
so family, we're not saying this to beat down on our African nations. We're just saying, hey, other nations are producing and being productive, regardless of whatever their situation is, and we should do the same.
Yeah, that's all we're saying. We should do the same. You do that by changing our mentality. You know. Yeah, wherever there's a will, there's a way.
The thing of it, brother, we have all of the fertile land and the best land, and
fertile land where you gotta do nothing with it.
And then you look at the Moroccans or the Egyptians or the Saudi Arabians, and they're over there in deserts and they building new cities and they're enterprising. And I mean, family, we have to look at that and we have to analyze that, because some of these countries, I mean, look 10, 20, 30 years ago, nothing was going on.
Nothing, Egypt was nothing, That's why they had Arab Spring, Morocco was nothing, There was some parts of Morocco, people were still riding on camels, They're still riding on camels from Marrakesh to the interior and whatnot,
Now, all of them wanted their countries to be modernized, developed to the highest level with the highest level of technology, to where they're outdoing some of these Asian nations.
And they have an incentive. Because if they don't, they know the Islamic people, the extremists, will take over.
And they realizing that they have a high population of young children. You know, we also about Africa got the youngest population. Well, we have to do something about it, more than just talk about it.
You can't threaten them with gunpoint, tell them to behave. You can't just basically at gunpoint say you're gonna behave. Yeah, tell people it's shit's fucked up, but they point a gun at him and say, what would you rather have? You suffering or you get shot? You can't do that. That's not gonna last forever. It's basically like this, man, shit's fucked up or not, but they point a gun at him. Okay, shit ain't so bad. I'll go back over here selling my fruit on the side of the road, whatever like that. I ain't mean no trouble. You can't threaten people forever. So that's why they had that uprising in Nigeria. Remember that SARS uprising a couple of years ago?
Yes.
They had that uprising because young people just had enough, the government of Nigeria, Lagos shot open fire on them, and that's what it is. The kids get frustrated and they're seeing all this. They see all this in other countries, right? This development and stuff like this. And they wonder why they're not making any progress. What's going to happen, especially with social media now. Either they want to get out. I want to get out of this country. I want to go to Europe. I want to go to America, It's so bad when you got people going to India, How does that happen? India's trying to get to Africa, Anytime you go to India, man, goddamn, I'm like, damn, India? Shit, I'm like, hey, come on. You tell me I can study over there. You can study in Nigeria, What the hell are you doing in India?
Yeah, what about this right here?
No. We got manufacturing.
Excuses right there.
Excuses. That's excuses, man.
I mean, if more of these countries open up to black folks in the diaspora, I mean, this
and get serious about building those industrial zones and everything like that, and saying, look, we could corporate. It all starts with corporations. Corporations have a research study department. From A to Z. We got all these people MBAs and everything. They can figure that shit out. How to manufacture, distribute, supply chain. We just don't have the political will. You could create a consortium. You got this businessman here. Everybody could contribute $1 million and everything. The host country match it with a certain amount of money, and you got let's say a Chinese partner comes in and everything. Now you got a corporation that manufactures goods and services for the local people and distribution on the continent. It can be done. Everybody else is doing it, but it takes cooperation. It takes us coming together. It takes serious thing. We got to stop thinking that everything being black is about partying and having a good time. We have to get into the hard work. I remember years ago, I learned, right? I said, look, man, with the trials and tribulations, right? Do you know what it was like before when America moved to industrialization? There were people going to the coal mines. They didn't want to be in the coal mines, sucking black smoke. People going to the factories having accidents. It was hard work. People heard about it, but they knew they were people longshoremen doing backbreaking work and stuff like this. What's going to take for us to do this? It's going to take that hard work and that ingenuity, and that perseverance. I was watching this one thing with the Japanese. There was interview just like in the 80s, the late 80s, right? And they was interviewing Japanese workers, right? And they'll talk about how there was a car plant workers. They was like, oh, I remember those days were hard, man. Before we had the robotics and the technology, you had to work. He said, I used to have nightmares of not keeping up and everything like that. And they were basically like, yeah, we had to work hard and everything. But they were just sitting around having a picnic. And they said, yeah, but we did it, though. So therefore, they look at it now and said, now, then the one Japanese guy said, now America fears us and whatnot because we're taking over a thing. One guy said, no, don't say that. Don't say that. The guy was like, no, it's the truth. America's worried now. This was like in the early 90s. He was like, America's worried now because Japan's now the number one producer of cars. He was bragging about it. And the one guy was like, oh, no, America's our best friend. America's our friend. Don't say that, The other guy was like, yeah, it's the truth, But the thing is that he was just so proud that he said, yeah, I'm retired now. And he said, yeah, I remember those days in the factory and whatnot. We getting up in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, working hard, getting on the train, going down there, grueling and stuff like that. These countries in Africa have to go through that process. That's not going to be pretty. We have to value our workforce. You know, those Japanese, to tell you the truth, the people, the unsung heroes are the labor, you know, the laborers, the people who worked in the factories, you know, people who worked in the mines, the people who made all the world we see. You know, when you drive across a bridge, you understand that there were engineers out there doing hard, dangerous work to make sure you could drive across that bridge and everything. We don't celebrate that, you know, in the black world. We don't look at that. We don't look at these people, things like that, because look at how we, in Africa, how we pay engineers and builders and construction workers and factory workers. We don't want to pay them. We don't want to honor them. We let the Chinese and everybody come here and come to Africa, pay people peanuts and everything, and not enough to build a family and everything like that, and they're taking all the profits offshore. We got to stop that. Said all the countries below Sahara are starting to take shape. No one will need to go to West. Yeah, well, I hope you're right, because, you know, right now it's not the case, because Africa is losing a lot of people. You got people trying to get into Morocco to get to Spain, you know, crossing the desert and stuff like that. People drowning in the Mediterranean right now, you know, sad, trying to get to Italy. You know, this is a sad situation.
Another one getting snatched up into slavery.
And slapped under slavery. That's the reality. We're not trying to candy coat this. You know, this ain't one of these, oh yeah, fantasy stuff like that. This is a reality. This show, we talk about the reality. You know, the reality is we have to change, you know. No, we're not doing well right now. There's a mindset. Yeah, 49 African heads of state got crammed into a museum begging for money from the West. No, things aren't right now. Until we basically understand that and say, look, we want better. You can't look at Africa as like, oh, this. No, it's not like that, because you're making a mockery of our brothers and sisters on the continent. Africans talk all the time to me all the time and say, man, it's just so hard over here. When is things going to change? Why is God punishing us? We want jobs. We want better life. We want like that, you know? America has never been to African continent. White America hates us, focus on Africa. Yeah, but the whole thing is we can focus on Africa, right? But we have to build. Who are we focusing on? You know, we don't want to focus on Africa, but when you just had this a meeting between the African heads of state, there was no African American representation. You know, there's nobody there. You know, there's nobody contacting any pan-African groups and saying let's work together and this. Yeah, we're gonna stay positive, but we're gonna stay on track. You know, I can't co-sign the stuff I'm seeing right now. I can't co-sign that, you know. You got Ukraine getting $80 billion from the United States and blew it, but wasted it and everything, you know. All interest, and we have to boots on the farm to us, put our finance together. Yeah, what we need is our own corporations. We need our own stock exchange. We need to be able to raise our own capital and stuff like that. And we need to be on. We need to be on the ground on the continent, and we need to have our people on the ground. That's why the Afrikstan is so important. You know, where we have our own logistics and everything that cater specifically to our needs. The United States has its own agreement with African governments and everything. We have to find a way how to say those of us in the Pan-African world have to build our own infrastructure on the continent, our own finance companies, our educational institutions, you know, our own cultural institutions, and stuff like that that serve our needs, serve the philosophy of Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. You know, right now there's none of that exists. You know, everything right now is, you know, they figure the United States government has the money. You know, what if we were able to put the $50 billion general fund together, investment fund together with us in the diaspora, where we have our own portfolio and stuff like that, where we could basically Black America, we sit in cities that we control. You know, these cities have pension funds. These cities have 401ks that they borrow from, and they basically lend out money and stuff like that to foreign governments. Some of those projects you see in Egypt and Morocco might be financed by part of your 401k. Should I repeat that again, Bomani? I said some of those projects you see going overseas might be funded by your state pension fund or your 401k, you know, and you sit in America, right, and say, well, what is my 401k being invested in? They invested in, they invest their money, your pension and stuff like that, and your insurance bonds or whoever your life insurance is, your trust fund and all that stuff like this. You know, you don't, and they invested in mortgage-backed securities and stuff like that around the world. A lot of it goes into projects like this. You know, that's how they raise the capital. America is the #1 funding source for everything in the world. So if you own a life insurance plan, a 401k, or you have a pension and stuff like that, you know, you should know where your money's going to. Imagine if we were organized, right? And we insist that, you know, let's say the workers in union workers and stuff like that in the city of Detroit say, you know, our pension fund is worth $50 billion, man. We loan money to this country for this railway project or this project. We got all that money invested in everything. The pension funds and everything is what built cities like Las Vegas. You know, the casinos you see, you know, shopping malls, all stuff like that, you know, real estate, high-rise towers are built by pension funds. How come we don't have people tapping into pension funds that way? Bob Johnson did it. Bob Johnson tapped into the Baltimore pension fund thing and built casinos in the Caribbean, which was smart. What if we do that on a larger scale? But what I'm saying about Nigeria, we can't do that because you have to have really stable countries. You know, so Africa has to do its part. Now, a country like Rwanda would be good because it has a track record of success. But that only depends on how long Paul Kagame stays in power. South Africa was the #1 recipient of investment of America for decades under apartheid, while fighting apartheid. Billions and billions of dollars were flowing in South Africa. American investments were getting a 20% return on their investment. 20%. And during the time of the height of the apartheid regime. So don't tell me money can't flow to Africa. If African countries were doing things, South Africa, what they do with the money? They built municipalities, they built railways, they built factories, they built modern agriculture and everything. South Africa became one of the world's top producers of grain in the world. South African gold rand was equal to the dollar at one time. South Africa became the world reserve currency during the height of the Vietnam War and American inflation. You know? Yeah, Magufuli was great because he saw the writing on the wall. Paul Kagame's great. He sees the writing on the wall. But those are just two men. You know, there's two men. We don't have a Magufuli or Kagame in West Africa. And that's the problem, you know. We could join forces with other African organizations on the continent. But that's why we have the Black African Infrastructure Organization, a social network. We're already meeting and talking and discussing with them. We just need more people to join. This is a place to join the social media, the Black African Infrastructure Organization, and Africa for Africans. You know, we have the people, we have the connections. We just need people to join and participate. That's what shows me people are serious. When people join the social network, the BAO, and they sign up for different chapters, and they're meeting people, connecting on the continent and stuff like that, you're not going to meet the right people on YouTube. I'm going to tell you right now. The serious people will join our social network, Bomani's and our social networks. You know, join with us. But you're not going to find them on YouTube. You're not going to find them on Facebook, for the most part. So we start building this thing, and Africans join the social network, see this African Americans interested in Africa. You watch things change in like 5 years. You know, we're the most organizing and meetingest people in the world. Aren't we, Bomani? We're the most organizing and the meetingest people. We're gonna meet. We're gonna organize, and nothing ever gets done.
Look at all these black organizations we have here just on the East Coast alone.
Yeah, and then nothing ever gets done.
Not much I've seen.
Nothing I've seen. You know, I'm sorry to break people's hearts and whatnot. You know, we're organized. We've been black people organized since slavery. And shit, you know, and nothing happened. You know, the words we spoke, Garvey spoke 100 years ago, 1922, and not really much has changed since the black man has conditioned globally. 100 years went by, and we basically haven't risen to a zenith yet. So when other people put their foot down and say we're tired of being tired, you see what they do. You see Singapore, you see Taiwan, you see Vietnam was such a shithole, now competing. You know, you see Thailand, you see Malaysia. When people get serious, you see change. Now you see North Africa coming up. When people get tired, you know, but black people always want to organize and pat ourselves on the back. We got this. No, we're not. But there's one organization, Bomani and I, that's serious. And we got the plans and how we can do this. All we need people to join us, you know, and spread the message. And then get together when you have a real solid plan. You know? Patrice Matt said, change is here now. What are you talking about? Why do people keep coming with this goofy stuff? Change is here now. Sit down. You know? I would like the people come on, press the link, tell me what you're talking about. Because shit's going to a hell in a handbasket about change is here now. All this feel-good shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing being positive. And positive is good, but we also have to be realistic with our situation. That's what you have been doing. We've been being very realistic.
Deal with reality. You know, I deal with reality. You know?
And right now, we're just not winning on the African continent. We show you the two of the few countries that are doing good. I mean, we make in South Africa, and probably that's it. Right?
Rwanda's doing good.
Rwanda, South Africa, Morocco, Egypt. You don't hear much about Algeria and Tunisia, but I'm sure they're doing well also. All those countries in the northern part of Africa seem to be doing well.
But the metrics is how well the people are living. You know?
And it seems like those nations are providing a higher level of life for their people.
And that's what the metrics is, you know? The metrics is. Now, in Nigeria, when I see people say, you're picking on Nigeria. No, but the bottom line is, you know, it's...
Yeah, I know people like, you know, those guys, they talk a lot. I mean, we talk about Asian countries. The country that stand out in Africa will always be Nigeria. I mean, the most populous country, the country where people...
You have 200 million people in the country, right? China set up a Lekki to be a manufacturing logistics hub, right? Nigeria should be producing millionaires every day, you know, with its population. You know, it should be creating millionaires there because you have the population inside your borders. You know, it should be a manufacturing hub, you know, but you can't manufacture if you don't have no electricity, no power, you don't have roads and proper drainage and shit like that, basic shit. You know, and that comes with being serious, you know, and having good leadership, you know.
There you go, Kala. And no one looks to join us tonight, which is all good. But our family, we did go through a whole lot based on our incredible topic and dealing with
Mozambique is actually doing pretty good so far, you know. Botswana is doing good, but Botswana is a small population. Botswana has less than 2 million people, you know.
Give me a country in West Africa. Come on, man. You keep on talking about all these other parts of the world.
Yeah, West Africa.
Where are we doing good in West Africa? I mean, Ghana is one of the countries that's standing out. But then, you know, they're going through their drama.
Ghana just basically got on his hands and knees and sucked the World Bank for $3 billion, you know.
So that's what happened?
Yeah. And also Ghana stopped payment of its debt. You know, you heard about that? They're saying, man, it's losing so much money, so much debt. Come on, Senegal, come on. What's the standard of doing good? Senegal's okay, but come on.
Yeah, they are building new cities in Senegal. That's one thing I did see there. So we see a little progress here, and you know, people say we'll get there, but the rate of where we're going is not fast enough. The rate of how we're going, the whole continent is gonna be this neo-colonized.
Yeah, it's like what's gonna happen?
Everybody else.
What's happening is this. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna have some people. You can't have a situation. I believe that everyone in Africa deserves the basics. You know, I always tell people all the time, I can't promise you're going to be rich. But if you have land, infrastructure, nationhood, the basics, right?
Yes,
That's the basis of building a civilization, the basics. What is the basic? You saw how the cities they were building in Egypt and Morocco, where they had planned cities and whatnot. They had people living, so like that. This is going to be another residency. You get people on the grid. Singapore moved millions of people that were living in shanties and everything to high-rise apartments, right? They had to teach them how to live in an apartment building. They had to train them how to live in a city because people had sanitation and everything like that. They had to train the population. And what happens is when you move people to the first world, right? That means they have all the basics: refrigeration, electricity, telecommunications, like all stuff like that. They have a modern way of life, right? Where electricity is stable and all stuff like that, telecommunications, education, and stuff like that. Then basically the culture and the civilization that you live can take shape. But you cannot have some people thinking it's a luxury to have an apartment with electricity in it, right? And somebody else living in a shack. A large number, like the slum village in what's it called, Kibera, in Kenya. People living off the grid in shacks and whatnot in shanty towns.
It's like 1 million plus people there too.
Yeah, and the reason why that happened is because those people moved to Nairobi, right? They came from the rural and moved to Nairobi, and there was no housing for them, so they started pulling up shacks. Same thing you got in South Africa. They build these shanty towns around the townships and everything, And so basically you have one side people living in the modern world and one side living in a shack. Sooner or later, you're going to have real social upheaval. Soon you're going to have, that's what, look at Rio. That's what gangs flourish. That's what teen prostitution, drug abuse, all that stuff like that, that basically make life unbearable. Like hell, you see that movie City on God? You ever seen that movie City?
Yes.
Was that hell on earth or what? I was like, damn, that's what made me start thinking, damn, I know shit's fucked up here, but goddamn.
Yeah, and it's real in Brazil too. I've been there, and I was at a club where one of the managers is telling me, it's like, you gotta watch out for these little children, man. He's like, I just got sticked up by several of them, and they all had guns, and they were like 12 years old. Like my son age, and I'm telling people, like, it's that movie. Even after the study, that movie is a portrayal. I mean, when we think about Brazil, we think about this beauty and everything, but also in all of these developed nations, you have that underworld, and in Brazil it's rough. I mean, every time I turn around, our tour guide telling us to watch out. I was like, I wish one of these little would. And I mean, I was with my military guys. It was a group of the rough guys with me, and I usually just make sure that we have some guys like that with us. But I'm just telling people, like, these things are serious, and unless we create more opportunities where it's just gonna end up like that, where next you just have a whole bunch of children and they just organizing themselves as gangs because they feel like they got it, and there's nothing out there for them.
Yeah, and Nigeria basically is just round up a bunch of Yahoo boys and beating them up. Oh, we hate them, and they'll say like, yo, they're like this, and they're like, we're gonna get out, we're gonna come back, and they're terrorizing the people. There's bullies. But the bottom line, these guys are neglected. You gave them nothing. You gave them no hope, no anything and whatnot, and you just want to throw them in the trash. We got the same thing in Liberia. They call Zocos, but they're not as violent, or hopefully, not as violent. But you just never know, man. They could change their mind, about the violent situation. But anytime, man, when you have an underclass of people where they got no hope, they got nothing, they're living in the streets and everything like that, that's why you can't have that. That's why infrastructure, giving everybody a friggin' place in society. And I think that should be entitlement. If you're a billionaire in your country, before you make your billion, some of that money should go to the development. I'm a socialist like that.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Socialist like
because,
that.
I mean, brother, the problem we have, in example, I'm just going to say one geographical location, West Africa. You build a mansion, and then as soon as you come out your driveway, out of your mansion, you're on raggedy roads.
Right.
And then if you don't have a proper backup system, the power goes out. But you have all of this money, and the infrastructure is not fixed. So does it make sense to have 10 mansions on a street and then the roads are raggedy?
Right.
I mean, are we just sitting for the government to do everything? And that's where private.
I see that a lot in West African countries, right? They brag about that mansion, right? But and right around them is a fucking slum. You know, like, dude, man, you got goddamn. I don't. How you look at? I get depressed when I look at that shit. I'm like, yeah, I can't see people living like that. I would rather see, I'd rather have a medium house, whatever like that. But everybody at least got an apartment. Everybody else had a flat, whatever like that. The basics.
Yeah, quality, basic standard of life.
The basic standard of life.
People.
And that's what the Afrikstan is all about, right? Guarantee everyone the basics, right? In our territory, the basics. Ain't nobody gonna be living in no shacks or no huts, whatever like that. We're gonna have the basics. You're gonna have the basics. You're gonna have a television. You're gonna have all that stuff like that, running water, appliances like everybody else. The more people you put on the grid, they got a stove in the house, electricity, refrigerator, and everything. You're building a middle class. That's people that's gonna send their kids to school. That's a social contract. You provide them with fire department, ambulance service, medical stuff, police, all the basics. And then you have a society. Then you have a culture society. Other than that, you don't really have anything. You don't really have anything. Because at any one time, whatnot, people feel like they're not a part of the society and everything like that, it'll fall apart. Because one thing I learned about this, and unlike in the West where we're spoiled, you got people that got the basics and they still fucking up. My thing is when I see Africans with the basics, they're happy. When they got the basics and everything, they don't commit crimes. They're peaceful, law-abiding, and they believe in what the society is and everything like that. That's what we want because you got the culture. In America, we're in a racist country, right? So black people can live in all mansions, and they're still gonna be fucked up. When Africa, we create the basics for everybody. Say, Kala, you supposed to live in small. Look, the bottom line is this: I believe it's expanding vertically. I believe we build the Afrikstan. I saw like the thing. Apartment buildings are fine. Condos and apartment buildings and townhouses are fine because you use less space. And we gotta get to that point where you don't need to build a big goddamn mansion, right? Let's develop the whole area where everybody can have a nice place to live. We got new designs of houses and whatnot where they look really nice. But they're not taking up a lot of space and everything. And then you have a whole community. I saw Kagame. He built housing one is developing housing for the poor. Now these were small houses, but guess what? They had indoor plumbing. They had appliances, everything. He said these are housing for the poor. They don't have to pay for anything, and they were right next to the middle class housing and everything. But these houses had all the basics. They had a laundry room, a washer and dryer when people go like that. They had a school. The basics. People are not asking for a whole lot, folks. And so I don't want to hear the excuse that, no. You got people in Africa making millions of dollars and billions of dollars and whatnot, right? And you got people with nothing. I'm sorry, call me a socialist or whatever. There's something not right about all that. Something's not right all about that. We got people like in Equatorial Guinea, the president uses the money as his own personal bank account. You got people living in squalor. Living in shantytown, not just shantytowns, but just I can even see if you have a shantytown on a dirt road. But when your floor, your house is in mud, man, come on. That's a shame. Nobody should live like that on the planet. So this is what I'm talking about. The basics. When we say the Afrikstan, we mean that everybody has to have a basic standard of life as your right. As your right as a resident or citizen, or you're in our area that we control. If we can't, then you just can't live there, But when we come there and say, hey, we got some low-cost housing you can afford, right? You're going to have a basic standard of living, right? Because what we want to have you do is you're going to participate in our civilization. We understand that if you're living in squalor, people act a certain way, We don't want that. So we're going to give you the basics, So therefore, your next generation could do better. That's what I believe in. I don't believe in people talk about we're going to get billionaires and millionaires and they're surrounded by filth and squalor and stuff, That's not cool. And these other countries, if Egypt could think like that, because other people think highly of their people. They think highly of people. Black people, we have this thing where if we see a black man in the gutter in the mud, we think that's the way he's supposed to be. That's the way you're supposed to be. You know, it's like, yeah, people say, I went to this one country, I had a good time. Well, what about, especially when people go to Nigeria and they see Makoto places, how does that, how's that feeling? Oh, I had a good time. Like me, I went to Liberia, right? I was actually surprised how clean Liberia was, but it has parts that's messed up. But I still say I saw some poverty that I didn't like. It bothered me. And people were like, oh, yeah, that's the way. I said, yeah, but it still bothers me. I'm not used to seeing that, you know? And so, yeah, speak the truth, Yeah, thank you. I think the bottom line, that's what you're going to get from me, the truth. It bothers me when I see kids that should be in school out selling bread to make a living,
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a shame. I see kids when I was in Liberia, I give money to the poor people all the time, everything like that. Not one time did I put that on video on camera and show it to anybody. Because I'm going to let the people have their dignity.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate that, man, because I saw this one goofball doing that on YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm not going to call his name, but
you don't do that. You don't go around and basically look what I'm doing for these people, whatever like that. These people got their pride. Let them have their dignity. They're in a bad situation. You help people. You don't put it on the internet. You don't put it online. You don't tell people, what I did and what I'm doing, and to boast in bragging yourself. You do it, and you do it from the heart, and you leave it alone.
There you go.
That's how I was like, when I was there, I'm like, I gave a lot of these young brothers a word of encouragement. They're like, man, that's when it comes to America, man. I worked so hard. And when I said, no, yeah, I know, man. All we want is jobs, man. The guy just like, I like the young bros here. They're talking about, and I'm not trying to I'm going to knock my African American bros sometime. You got motherfuckers working at Taco Bell making $13 an hour complaining, and you got to go to Liberia and say, man, I just want a job, man. I work hard. I'll do whatever I can. I just want a job. I got a young wife, but, I really can't give her much and whatnot, That's how I know how that feels. All these people want to do is work. They want jobs. So
yes, thing, brother. People are looking for an opportunity, and some of us have to
all the investments and everything. If you want to talk about manufacturing, go to West Africa. You will make a mint because you will not have to worry about labor and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people are waiting for them jobs. They're waiting for them
jobs.
They're willing to work.
So that's the whole thing. So that fact that people not talking about manufacturing, maybe Africans say, no, maybe because we don't freaking think we have the intelligence to put together a simple operation like manufacturing and distribution and stuff like that. And people are manufacturing now on a mass scale since the Industrial Revolution. And we go, oh, I just can't do that. We can't do that. No, we just need order and infrastructure and people knowing what to do,
Yeah, I remember this one genius, Knox Sleazy, was saying, he was saying that it's basically talking about like Africa don't need to be industrialized, and it's not like the Industrial Revolution. I'm like, yes, they do, because example, we have the beautiful land of 60 acres, 15 acres, and then there's a whole much more land in the town. What if we had literally industries in there, industrial park, office parks,
and we will have,
all those things. How are you gonna say that we don't need these things? It's like people literally just feeling like
we should let the Arabs and everybody keep importing everything from Coca-Cola to lotion.
Oh, we need to just let them sit there and develop these wonderful, incredible places. Because when you turn around, we see a lot of our folks are going. Like I hear it all the time in Ghana. Like whether they're Ghanaians or whether they're from America, I'm going to Dubai on vacation.
Right.
That's the popular place you hear.
Ghana got all those beautiful lagoons and beaches, but yet you going to Dubai. You going to Dubai.
Me personally, I've been to Dubai and been there in '99.
Nice,
but it's nice, but it's number one. It's overrated, and you can't really live in these countries as a black man, black woman as we want to, because you're subjugated by these people, laws and rules, and you're gonna always be a black African to them.
Yeah, you're always gonna be black.
Always gonna be on the lower status of life to them. The only thing they need you for is your labor. That's it.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And the bottom line, you're just black in the world. Why wouldn't you want to have like that Calabar. We should have built that Calabar up.
You know, that would be a great tourist destination. Properly.
That's what we should. That's what we build our Black Hollywood at. You know, film studios and stuff like that.
It's very tropical down there, right?
But build a theme park and stuff like that. You would have millions of people going. Imagine that. Imagine selling tour packages to that, you know, and going to Calabar for a week and whatnot, you know, and stuff like that. Imagine if we had the Black entertainment. Look what Look what they're doing to our entertainers. Our entertainers so screwed up and whatnot. You know, all they think about is nonsense and foolishness. They basically, you know, look, Black America was much better back in the 70s, you know. Black people in America was in Lagos, Nigeria, planning for all the stuff we talk about back then, but it all fell apart. They said Lagos, ever since Festac in 1977, you know, when all the largest contingents of people outside of Africa was from Black America in Festac, you know, in 1977. A lot of those people came from Zaire, from the rumble of the jungle, a couple years before that. There was in the 70s, there was a lot of Black people from America living in Africa. You know, I don't know what happened over the years, but, you know, it just all fell apart, you know, because nobody really had a vision. You know, everybody thought we were going to, these new countries in Africa. There was a lot. Look, this idea of building in Africa is not new. You know, it's not new. You know, there's people have been living on the continent for decades and everything like that. But, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, the people up on top, look at John Cashin. You know, he's back in America.
Call a man name, yo.
I'm just saying, yo, my boy was living in Nigeria for 34 years, man. He had to come back, man. He's like, yo, man.
Yeah, he probably was giving it his all, and you know, when you don't have a setup there for
he met with top people, man. They like him, but
pull it off.
The African mind, man. He said, yeah, man, they love it, man. Mr. Cashin, your monorail and shit like that, you know, and I think his monorail was one of the ones in Calabar. Because it looked like the Metro rail line, the one that's in Calabar looked like his. You know, it wasn't working, but it looked like one of his. You know?
It wasn't working.
Yo, but you got to put some work into it, man. You got to have the proper technicians and shit, you know?
The way you just broke it down, it seemed like everything in that country is broke or delayed or interrupted.
I'm glad you see what I'm talking about, Bomani. You thought I was just trying to be funny and diss, man. I've been studying Nigeria for years, man. That's but the thing you could tell it was a Nigerian who wrote it, right? But he had a white guy, a white voice. Yeah, this project right here, dude, man, we know that shit, man. The rail line and whatnot, man. They've been talking about that rail line for I don't know how many years, man. You know, shit, lucky. Notice how he didn't say the years of certain things. You know,
that would have been too embarrassing.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, 2010, whatnot. Yo, goddamn, it's 12 years ago. That's a lifetime and shit, you know? 12 years and shit, you know?
I mean, other countries talking about knocking out projects in 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. They're talking about 5 years, $3 billion, 5 years. Goddamn. You know, somebody talking about we're getting there. Man, I'm sorry. I'm tired of hearing that shit. You know, give me a chance, man. I'm going to put my foot up some Negroes' asses, you know? It's about 5 years. I want it done now. Just get it done. You know, it's about this. That's what Black people do. We always do cover up for our own incompetence and laziness, you know, and make excuses. You know, no more of that shit. You know,
I mean, the rest of the world, don't care about what we've been through and everything. I mean, as you see in all 3 documentaries, videos, the Chinese was the biggest investor in all of them.
The Chinese, the Germans too.
But most of what I heard, I mean, because what you kept on seeing was Chinese symbol. So I'm telling people literally what it was like 80 years ago, China was like on the bottom of the world.
Yo, not even
one of the most impoverished, worst countries in history.
Yo, China was nothing until Nixon.
I mean, Japan was Japan was handling them.
Yeah, Japan was kicking ass, you know. And then what happened was the Chinese in the 60s, Japan opened up relations with China, right? And the Japanese foreign minister met with the Chinese and everything like that, and they opened up. And then a few years later, America said, "Man, China could be an alternative to Japan." You know, and they want that competition. So Nixon opened up relationships with China, right? And then groups like the McKinsey Group has been bringing American corporations. They said, "Look, we have a problem here, Houston. We got a problem. We got all these Black people coming up in the cities." And I'll be honest with you, our Generation X, right? Our fathers worked in the factories, right? I'll be honest with you, we didn't want to work in the factories no more, right? White boys didn't want to work in the factories. So they say, we got a solution for that shit, you know? They started looking at China as a place to manufacture American goods. And that's what it is. America, China started becoming the main thing. The McKinsey Group said that China is going to be this idea of globalism. This idea of globalism and everything like that. So that's why most of our goods are made in China to this day. Because ever since Nixon opened up relations with China, China's benefited from that. Now China is handling America because it's manufacturing stuff, right? And it's marketing. China, back when China was, they didn't know how to do shit until the Americans and the Japanese came in there and showed. And all they do is copy and duplicate. That's all they do.
Brother, 100% of everything.
So Africans have been copy. The Chinese man was so backwards, and that they still to this day. You go to rural parts of China, right? These people are backwards. I'm not saying all Chinese are stupid, but they're not the fucking smartest people in the world. But you go to Shanghai and those places like that, where they got the technology and everything. China still relies on Taiwan for most of its technology. In Korea, that's why they want Taiwan.
That's why they take it over. And one of the most impressive things is I want to say that they have the biggest diasporan community all over.
Right, and you know what they did? China reached out to Chinese Americans that have been here for almost 200 years and said, "You're Chinese."
Yes, that's
and offered jobs to come back to China. And you got Chinese even spying for them in the military. You heard about that. The Chinese go say you're Chinese or whatnot. You had Chinese who don't speak no China, born in New York City, and living in Beijing and whatnot, with top jobs and whatnot. They reached into the Chinese diaspora. They said, and also in the 1960s, America in the Civil Rights Act gave money for Chinese to go to college in America. They weren't even going to school here. They were just in their Chinatown doing their kung fu and Chinese rice and shit, And the bottom line is America gave them money that was supposed to go to us to educate Chinese,
brother, that seemed to always be the situation. Whatever is supposed to go to us as a people,
always go to somebody else.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And so the Chinese say, "Yo, you got all these Chinese graduates, good grades in engineering. What they do?" And the Chinese like, "Yeah, we're getting racial harassed." Chinese say, "Okay, why don't y'all come over here?" And a lot of the Chinese, the industry you see Chinese, were Chinese Americans. But we've been here. The Africans have never used the brain trust of Black America in strategic things like engineering and medicine and stuff like that. Even though we produced some of the top engineers at the time, some Ethiopia reached into the African American Tuskegee and helped build the Ethiopian Airlines.
That is facts, right, family.
Ethiopia was smart in that regard. So Ethiopia did what Nigeria and all these other countries didn't do. Reach into the diaspora. There's Jamaicans, there's Trinidadians. You got a lot of people in the Trinidad and Panama that are real educated. You know what I'm saying? And Guyana and stuff like that. When you have a brain trust, you got the Africa Black people. We don't value our brain trust. We think basically everybody's sitting around talking about politics and reparations and everything. We got to bring the technocrats, from around the diaspora together in a hub. Say, look, this is what we plan on doing. If you don't know, then you got to link with you got to be smart enough to link with the right people. That's what you see in Egypt and everything. A lot of those Egyptians didn't know what to do, but they knew who they had to get. That's why they said, let's go to this German company. Let's go to the Swedish company right here. You got to bring those people together that can make those decisions. Because you may not know yourself, but you have to be smart enough to understand that you need this company. That's why you have all these American companies like this. You're trying to win, and that's what technocracy is all about. We may not know, but we're going to learn. Same with the Chinese. We don't know shit, but we're going to recruit the Chinese and whoever else to come here and help us do this shit. That has not happened in Africa. Africa pushes everybody away. We send people abroad. We give them our best minds, to go to work for the white man and work in Europe, stay there for 30 years and do nothing, and come back and spend 10 years building a big mansion on a dirt road.
There you go, Kala. Appreciate you dropping it. So, family, since no one wants to join us, we may need to just close out for the night unless you have some more here and everything.
Well, I would say this. Join the BAIO Global Pipeline. Download the app. Download the stuff like that. All the discussions and whatnot. You want to reach me, and you want to know what's going on in different countries, join the social network and let's have it. Let's go. You know, if you really feel that this is something that we need to talk about and everything, it starts with us. Join our social network. Join our revolution. You know, because like I said, we don't candy coat this thing. You know, we tell it like it is. You know, the black man has to rise, man. It has to rise by firstly finding out the truth about ourselves. Once we find out the truth and tell the truth, then we can get someplace. But until then, you know, like tonight was the truth. We saw Morocco, we saw Egypt, then we saw Nigeria. You know, and we now we know the truth. We haven't been doing what we're supposed to be doing. These Egyptians and Moroccos are reaching across the globe to win. You know, so.
And that's the real family. That's what we're doing.
So that's what we're doing. And we want to bring those people in here, the minds, to really build this thing. We need the brain power. We need brain power. You know, people say, well, I don't really have nothing. I said, well, what do you want to do? If you're a man in your 20s and a woman in your 20s and 30s, you still got time. What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? How do you think you accomplish? Well, I was thinking about joining school. Well, get that school. I'll push you. Get that education. Get that technical degree. You know, become part of the solution. Become part of the nation building process. You know, because I will push you. Because which side is it, East or West Africa? I would have to say East Africa. What do you think?
Yes, East Africa is a lot more advanced.
Yeah, but the thing is, East Africa has large numbers of what? Arabs and Indians, Chinese, and everybody else. That's why. You know, unfortunately, West Africa don't have the huge, large population of Indians. You know, if West Africa could develop with the black diaspora, that's a win. You know, that's a definite win. Right now, East Africa got it beat because they got India, China, you know, Europeans, and everybody else living there. You know, large numbers. And people say Mauritius. Mauritius is a dynamic, but black people are on the bottom. You know. You know, it's, I said, yeah, Mauritius. That's not all the people doing the banking and finance, all Arabs and mixed Chinese, and I'm like, that's the Mauritius y'all talk about. You know, yeah, you see a lot of black people that look like us, but the people actually doing the shit and whatnot, the banking and all the stuff like that, they all white. The offshore banking, when they're all white or Asian or something like that, or Arabs. You know, so we got to build that Afrikstan. We got to build those cities and whatnot, those dynamic cities of business and finance and stuff like that. That's the future. That's what's going to save us.
That's it, brother. Absolutely. So, family, we have covered it all. And the next set of things to do is for us to move forward and build what we need to build. So, let's put us on full screen. And family, that is the network where you can get all access to our information, Africa Tours and Investment.
Bomani, you still got to get that app, man. You got to get that app made, brother.
Yeah, we work on that. It's like trying to work on many different things. But
I can help you with that, with the app when you're ready.
Yeah, and it shows something simple to get done.
Yeah.
But that is it, family. AfricaForTheAfricans.org. And just if you tell them about trying to get connected to Africa, that's it right there. You got a bunch of countries right here, and our famous investment project that we're looking to connect with grant writers and business people, because what we need to do, we need to work together collectively in different areas so we can bring home an incredible dream of opportunities for our children.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're not just doing this just to talk. We're doing this because, when we look at it, our children going to be able to compete with the Asian children? I mean, and we have to really talk about those things.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is our energy on connecting ourselves to Africa. Bring the industries there and get our children involved in them and then compete. I mean, it's not that simple, but it's that simple. And it all starts from making a move. The initial connection to Africa, that's what we built this operation for. And with this, it's a whole lot of networking. This comment that we got here. Yes, family. So appreciate all your energy and everything, and please keep sharing, letting people know what we're doing, and be free to connect us with some good people, because that's all we're looking to. I mean, we understand that most people are gonna be spectators, but we need some new players in the game that can take it to that next level.
We need people that's going to connect us with those multinational corporations and stuff like that, and say, look, we start building momentum, and say, hey, wow, and then we start attracting the ears of these governments in Africa and saying, wow, we come in there, we're investing, we plan on building industrial zones and stuff like that, and we got people wanting to come there and work, and I'm really excited about that medical tourism. Imagine that. A medical park in Medical City, where people could come and get good health care and stuff like that. That's a money maker right there.
Yeah, without leaving the African continent, because that's where most people end up leaving, going to Europe and America. Complain about doctors in Africa.
Imagine that. It's just basically common sense. All the stuff that you got to leave Europe for: entertainment, work, industry, healthcare. Let's build it on the continent. That's what the Afrikstan is all about. Afrikstan is about Black African infrastructure. That's it. We have land. Let's build all the stuff that we say we need in America. Banking systems, all the stuff like this. All the things that we say in America: entertainment, schools, hospitals. Parks, recreation. All the things of quality of life that we say that we need in the West, you build in Africa. That's how freaking Japan basically built this country, because it didn't want all millions of its people fleeing to California. They say the people of Japanese like, yeah, California is great, but I like where I'm at in Japan. Japan created heaven on earth for their own country. That's
and that's what I see all over the Asian nations. I mean, all of them are rising up.
All rising up.
Whether it's Korea, Japan, China, even small little Vietnam.
Vietnam, man, I can't. Now,
Taiwan, Thailand.
Vietnam selling Nigeria rice. Nigeria banned this rice, right? And Vietnam's like, no, you can't do that. Vietnam. That's a lot of nerve. Y'all were just in the war. Y'all bogarting and selling Nigeria's own fish and rice and whatnot. But I mean, so then Nigeria finally woke up. Like, damn, man, Vietnam was dominating the cashew industry. How the hell did that happen? I mean, I wish Vietnam a lot of luck, but damn, they came out of nowhere. Happy holidays to you, Amari, Imani, Bay,
But yes, family, what you're looking at is an incredible schedule. We just completed Tanzania, journey of a lifetime in November. About to get to Ghana soon, and then complete that journey. And then we have the beginning of 2023, Senegal and Gambia, Ghana, Rwanda, Tanzania, South Africa, and then Liberia in 2024. So that's the schedule for your family. We're taking this to another aggressive level, and then we're going to expand off into this, attracting more and more Black business investors, because it's either we participate in the future of Africa or we stay back here and watch it get dominated, and then we're in trouble, because then we really don't have any home.
Yeah, once that happens, we're finished.
Yeah, I mean, Africa is just the continent, the home of all Black people. And once that goes and taken over by Asians and Arabs, we just out of luck. So
we'll be homeless, man.
So this is our energy to solve the issue and organize and work together with our own people. So you see, I'm gonna post a link right here. I'll post the link back up again. You can just know directly that we're not always on YouTube talking. So if you want to reach out to us or connect with us, we're working throughout the entire week. That's why we, when we do come on, we come on late. The late night shift.
Yeah, so we're
kind of working a double shift.
Yeah.
And get a few hours rest and get back up to work in the morning.
Yeah, I'm tired. This was a busy open enrollment season. I'm exhausted, man. In January, really, I got to hit it again in January, man. I got to go up to Jersey, hit North Carolina, going on the road.
There you go, family. And we have to build these black enterprises. Serious. I mean, it's, we just got to get into it. And the more of us can get into black enterprising, then the more of us can connect together and do bigger projects. And that's when you saw these projects, these were mega projects. So with mega projects, you need different partners in, and you need to definitely be on code on what you're doing.
Yeah, when you have millions of people that are smart on codes, that's why we got to start sectioning off our smart people, And when they're on code, they got their study groups and think that's what the BAIO social group is all about. And we get all these technical people together, form their own groups and everything, and think tanks and everything like that. We want to find a grant group, that help us get funding for our projects in Africa. We need that group formed, grant writing group, So you guys meet on the social network, right? You guys exchange numbers, everything. Next thing you know, you're doing your own conference calls and everything. And you're doing it. We like people who do without being told. You know the mission, or we're trying to do. We need to be able to gather our own intellectual base, our own technology base, our own finance base, everything like that for this thing, And we need everybody participating. We need people participating. There's not enough for me to talk. We can talk to them blue in the face, but we need these people, and I know with social media, everybody basically got their own thing they want to work on and whatnot, but the BAO is like this. You can have your own organization thing, but bring it to us. Bring it, join it, form your own group in the BAO social network, right? So we can share notes and stuff. It's like we don't want to tell people what to do, but just join, Just join, join us. This is how we're gonna get it done, man. But you see what happened with the Sabo. You want to talk about while we're on the subject? Want to talk about Sabo? How these people went on their own, did their thing, and look what happened.
Break it down, brother. Break it down.
People went on their own, and I have BAO members, they didn't want to listen. Kala, man, yeah, man, they went over there, wasted a lot of money and time, but they had a good time.
You had a good time, but you wasted a lot of money.
They wasted a lot of money, So what's what I'm saying? Look, this is the real thing now, Now it's time to freaking say, look, it's time for us to build. Time for us to build. We need those industrial. When we get to that level where we got somebody, China Development Limited, saying, yeah, something, I like to build an industrial zone. I want to see a highway built from the coastal highway built through Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria. I want that highway built.
The real West African highway.
Imagine I could go from instead of getting on a plane, I can get in my SUV and drive from Monrovia to Jagazi. Imagine that shit. A road trip.
You should be able to drive all the way down from Mauritania all the way down to Angola.
Yeah, we should be able to drive all the way around the lake. That's the same thing you have in the Pacific. You could drive from Mexico to Canada, through Canada, really, and up through the Pacific Northwest.
The Pacific Coast Highway?
Coastal Highway, yeah, And so the bottom line is, why is it that Africa doesn't have these things? What is Africa cursed, What is it? Why is it? We got to start praying to the infrastructure God.
The mentality is cursed.
You know what I'm saying? The infrastructure God. Say, why have thou forsaken us? We want infrastructure. Infrastructure is a thing. We'll pay for it. We'll pay taxes for it. If we could have infrastructure, wouldn't you give up 15% of your earnings a year in taxes? Finance that shit? Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
We want infrastructure. Infrastructure will set us free. Infrastructure will mean that we don't have to fucking go to the white man's country no more. We could create industry and wealth on our own,
That's exactly what Egypt and Morocco was doing. I can't really say what Nigeria was doing, but I saw those other two nations. That's what they were doing. Industry.
He asked you, what was the Roman Empire? Roman Empire was infrastructure.
Yes.
They had ports all over the Mediterranean. They had roads that connected.
Military power.
Yeah, they had
leadership,
and
innovation.
When they conquered people, right? And people realized, okay, we're conquered, right? We're part of Rome now, province of Rome. But yet I could sell goods all the way across to North Africa. People say, okay, let's keep things away. I'm getting rich. That's infrastructure. Infrastructure is everything. And Hitler wanted to do the same thing. He wanted to recreate that by building the Autobahn throughout Europe, everything, like roads.
Yeah, they did some great stuff in Germany under Hitler. I mean, I understand that
people don't like him, but
world have their issues with him, but wasn't he Time Magazine Man of the Year?
Yeah, he was. Yo, he built. If you look at the
people.
Autobahn, you watch this picture of the Autobahn when they first built it. They're singing in German. All hail the Autobahn. That looks like the Palisades Parkway. I was like, damn, that's like the Palisades Parkway in Jersey. I said, damn, I didn't think about that. I said, yeah, the guys are driving on the Autobahn and whatnot. And they said, yeah, we're going to connect everything from Vienna to Austria and Poland, we're gonna go to Moscow and everything like that. You know, it was simple about it's all about infrastructure. The British didn't want that because
and you see what they've done over the period of time, even with World War I, World War II, both losses to them, both L's. They're still a dominant nation.
Germany's like what, the third largest economy in the world. You know, Germany's still
a whole bunch of colonies.
Yeah, and so they lost a lot of stuff. Look at they bounced back.
They lost 100% of their colonies.
Yeah, they still bounce.
The British and the French. So,
but yeah, so this is what we're talking about. Other people, we could do it.
Absolutely. So I mean, even with their mayhem, you still hear about around the world. German companies, some of the most innovative
in Germany, all the
companies around the world.
Germany, German company. What the thing about Germany is, Germany will invest in Africa before the British and all these other Americans. They will. Now, for some strange reason, Germany and Russia. You see Russia, and Russia will too. America has this thing, right? You see that? Did you see that thing? All the demands they had for the thing. It's everything I've been talking about. Now I know I'm not crazy. Line 2 of the demands they talked about for the $55 billion, protection for the LGBTQ and gay people. I knew that was gonna be a deal breaker for Africa.
Man,
it's just
can't make this stuff up, brother.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So in other words, basically, we gotta scrounge around for something. And no plan, no direct infrastructure. You're gonna give these governments money to blow it, and have the Africans be on the hook for this shit for generations. No infrastructure, no nothing. And no plan. I'm saying they should have been like, well, we got people, African Americans who are building. They didn't mention Akon. They didn't mention you. Anything like that. What else African Americans who are building? Oh no. And so bottom line, they don't take our movement seriously. It's all about themselves and them pushing America's agenda. America's agenda. Remember the Godfather? He said to the Turk, he says, best of you. He goes, best of your best. Wish you a lot of luck, so long as your interests don't conflict with mine.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Now with America,
since your interests don't conflict with mine.
Yeah, so America's influence. America's interest is not conflicting with us. What do we do? What do we do? And so that's what we're doing. We got to keep pushing on what we're pushing on. America's interest is conflicting with ours. They want what they want out of Africa, which they want to tell us. That pretty soon they're going to start telling Africans, to ban us from the continent and do all this stuff like that. As soon as you take that money, man, they own us. That's why we have to be strong on the continent. Now, damn, what are we gonna do, man? They built a port, they built the industrial zone, they built the city. We can't get rid of them. That's how we have to come. That's why we say the Afrikstan. Once we build an Afrikstan, when we stand, it can't do nothing. Now they got to deal with us. Now they got to deal with us through diplomatic channels. And that's the first thing. Now, if you want to be free, you join the BAIO and Africa for Africans. If you want to be just a spectator in the rape of the motherland, you go join with Joe Biden and all these other freaking goofballs and the Secretary of Defense, the guy who reintroduced American military bases in Somalia. He was a black man Secretary of Defense to recolonize Africa.
Yeah, that's what people get put in position for, kind of like back in the slave master days, the head man in charge, the head Negro.
Why are we still
head Negro in charge?
The first black something, Every time I say it, some black woman just got promoted first black. I said, oh Lord,
another first.
Yeah, it was another first. It happened. I forgot all about it. But it happened the other day. First black woman day. I'm like, oh Lord, I just scrolled back. I don't want to read this. What you gonna talk about? Yeah, we're talking about queer children, and I think that's what she did say. The rights of queer children and gender identity and all kinds of stuff like that. They want to take little Bomani from you and say, yo, look, he wants to be a little girl or whatnot, put him in a dress or whatnot,
That's exactly what they did to Dwayne Wade boy.
Yeah,
and he went along with the deal.
He went
along with the program and trying to go around on networks and tell people a little foolish story about, his little boy came home one day and said he wanted to be a girl. First of all, you're a child. You don't know what you want.
You don't know what you want,
We follow our guidelines. We're the adults. We're running stuff. Children don't run nothing.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a dog. Kids tell you, I wanted to be a dog, man. Our friend, you walk around like a dog barking, and then you grow out of it, you grow out of it.
I think at the young age, there's a lot of confusion, but the thing that's unacceptable is for parents to go with the stupidity. You need to be not.
Yeah, and I saw this one white guy, right? Now, I always thought this idea, white man cares about his kids and everything, right? And he said he went to a thing, and the doctor was asking his son, what do you identify as? And he was like, I don't think that's appropriate. I was saying to myself, dude, you should have knocked that doctor right in his freaking head. A 3-year-old son, He said, yeah, the doctor was like, no. I said, that's my son. But the doctor was like, no, I have a right to ask him, what does he identify as, a boy or girl?
What do you mean, what do you identify as? What do you think he got? What do you think he is?
Yo, you can't tell this kid got to make us. I said, this guy was so soft, man. I was like, dude, I was sitting there yelling at the screen. I was like, are you kidding me? That's your son. You should have not.
A doctor like that, it'd have been rough. I mean, I know, literally just went off on his punk ass and literally just like, yo.
The way he was all like, I'm just so upset.
I mean, just because a person's a doctor don't mean that they know they have any right to tell you how to raise your children.
Yeah, they're putting. That's why really all our doctors are coming from other countries, because all American doctors, they're into plastic surgery, gender reform, all this stuff like that. That's where the big money's at. Sex change and all stuff like that. That's where the real money's at. Plastic surgery, sex change, all that. While these other doctors coming from here are doing the real medical science, keeping people alive and shit. American doctors are into all the weird shit. There
you go, man. There you go, Kala. On that note, there you go, family. That's why we gotta build our own nation and build all aspects of what we need so we can control our lives and raise our children with righteousness and this self-determination to build
Black
a nation.
family.
Straight black family. That's men, women, and children.
Man, woman, and child.
Yeah, or
Black woman and man, woman, and child. A reggae song like that. Woman and child.
That's SZA.
Black
song. Got it.
Black woman and
Black
child.
woman and child.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, so family. That's what we're about, family. That's how we're keeping it. We're keeping it cultural, keeping it family, and just because these people are pushing these agenda, don't mean that you have to get involved in it. You ain't gotta speak all negative about it and things, but at the same time, you don't have to get all involved and accept it.
Right.
And once you start doing that, there's no turning back. So I'm trying to get my son out of the school system soon, and so he can be educated in business and technology on another level. Because the system is what it is, man.
Check this out. Wayne sent her son to Liberia to go to school. Her son's like 11, one's like 10, one's like 8. She said she didn't get out of that. She got him out of America and sent him to Liberia for school.
That's an ultimate move right there.
All the influence in America, right? I guess she brings them back for holidays and stuff like that, but she didn't want the kids grow up in it because, like I said, man, I give the Muslims one thing. I'm not a Muslim or nothing like that, but they're like, no, you ain't gonna bring us our kids with that shit, And
absolutely, and that's why we have to, build these elite schools in Africa where our children can learn the things that they learn in technical school, they can learn in high school. Because high school, I mean, unless you're teaching me about about some kind of trade or industries,
right.
I mean, there's not much you need to be doing. I mean, most of the things you learn between the first 8 years of in school anyway.
Yeah, the bottom of high school should be about prepping you for your future.
Absolutely, and that's what that's people like myself goal. I mean, that's what I like about living in New York City. When I was in junior high school, it was a bunch of options to go to.
Did you guys down there have boat seats? We had this thing called boat seats, called basic occupational careers, something like that. Boat seats, you could take that the last 3 years in high school, instead of all the other curriculums you had, everything like that. Some people did that. I did it for a while, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I took up commercial art.
They had a few different from welding to electrical system, electronic system, train engineering.
Yeah, that's what we have both.
Computer science and things like that, which all great careers, and that's what I'm saying. New York is still the metropolis of many things.
Yeah, New York is still the educational capital of the world. It is.
And I mean, like even think about New York. You had school like automotive, teach you straight up, car maintenance.
Yeah.
You have aviation. A friend of mine went to aviation and he was studying flying. And all these are careers, get you ready for military technical school, get you ready for the business world. And these are the things that we can build in Africa, where our children between the ages of 13 to 19, they're learning what they need to learn, and then we put them in the industries. Just like we see Egypt and Morocco, they got all these industries building. And along with that, they're educating their children to fill the position.
Yep.
And control their destiny. So family, we just have to do like what Marcus Garvey said, do the same thing as other nations of people. And that's why Marcus Garvey talk about Africa for the Africans, just like, China for the Chinese. And you see how that's working out for them.
And we have to be the vanguards of African infrastructure. We know it needs, like I said, we study Africa, and like I said, we have maps and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, man, that coastal highway, man, be nice, And so we got to start putting our study groups together so we can go to the World Bank or wherever like that and say, look, we got like 100 people in the United States, basically, that want to work on this international project with African governments to complete this thing. When the world starts saying we got that capability of doing stuff like that, they're like, wow, these guys are serious. We're dead serious about infrastructure. And once we do that, when you build highway systems connecting the African cities and capital, you're going to see Africa grow like you won't believe. Then we can get to that next level, But when the African countries are sectioned up where you can't even drive from one part of the country to another country, there's something seriously wrong. Or you get hijacked on the road where you try to go into another country, somebody stopping you, trying to shake you down at the border and shit like that, All this stuff has to change. And we have to basically be the vanguards of that, say this is unacceptable, and so this is what we're talking about, this is what we're talking about, we're being major players on the continent, because nobody else, show me any other show where a conversation like this is happening, no other show. Every other show was talking about nonsense, or they're basically talking about gossip and who's getting elected, whatever. And I listen to a lot of people, Liberian shows, where nobody talks about infrastructure. Not one conversation. Not one conversation talks about infrastructure and industry and stuff like this. Everything is who's getting elected and all this kind of gossip and nonsense and everything and foolishness. So, like I said, we have to gather us with the African thinking minds on the African continent and get them together in one organization, one social network, and a social network of organizations getting together. The serious organizations join BAIO. And we just basically hash it out, and we have things, and then we use our plugs in these different countries to do presentations and stuff like that. We started doing presentations and everything like that, and then we got funding coming in. That's going to be the game changer, Bomani. We'll be able to get our funding source and everything. And we got people sitting down, and we're meeting with people, all types of people, black, white, Chinese, whatever like that believe in what we're doing and saying we're doing this and everything. That's going to be a game changer. The world's going to look at the Pan-African movement in a different light. And it's going to be a Pan-African movement based on Africa for Africans, not Africa for the USA for Africa or Africa for USA, Africa for Africans. This is a Pan-African thing. This is a black nationalist thing. This is a black African nationalist thing, because Africa is never going to be whole until the black man and Africa and the black man in the West combine together. That's the relationship the United States should be encouraging. Not the same old stupid stuff that they've been doing for centuries, neglect. And that's why China's winning in Africa and Russia's winning. But America doesn't see it like that. America thinks Africa is a stepchild and it can say whatever it wants, do what it wants, and send a few Negroes over there with a black face and think you're gonna, again, it don't work like that. Not anymore. But that's it for me tonight, brother. So
All right, brother Kala. Yes, man. We said a mouthful tonight, brother. So let's close out and just reconnect back with everybody.
All right.
So, family, appreciate you joining us, and we'll definitely keep you posted and keep you connected as we build for the future. All right, family. Good night. We'll keep
Black Power. Take care.